And we are live. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. Thank you for joining me tonight. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live in the show, and I appreciate y'all for that. We got a whole lot going on all over the internets, all over social media, all over the mainstream media. Where do I begin? Have you seen Sleepy Joe living up to his name recently? We saw the whole Afghanistan press conference kerfuffle, which was a dumpster fire, a disaster, to say the least. But he was speaking to Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, and he appeared to be sleeping. We'll talk about that. We got video and all that good stuff. Also, they went ahead and striked, if that's the correct term, Afghanistan. They hit so-called ISIS-K. What's the purpose of calling it ISIS-K? Why not just call them ISIS? Why not just call them who they are? You got to talk about ISIS-K to represent the specific region where they come from, or does it really matter? If it's ISIS, it's ISIS, but we'll talk about that a little bit more. Also, there was a teacher, one of these weirdo leftist teachers, that decided that she wanted to tell her students, hey, let's not worry about pledging allegiance to the American flag. How about pledge allegiance to the LGBTQ LMNOP flag? But then they say, oh, there's nobody trying to brainwash the kids. There's nobody trying to indoctrinate them into the LGBT lifestyle. I can't tell. You may be in danger if you hear the word normies, apparently, according to a UK TV station. We'll talk about all those things and more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And again, I thank y'all for joining. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me. You're right here with us on this beautiful Saturday evening, night, wherever you are, depending upon what part of the world you're in. But I'm glad you're here. So thank y'all for joining. Well, we got a whole lot going on. There's a whole lot happening. We're talking about all the aforementioned and much more. I got quite a few clips for you guys saved up in a nice little playlist we'll get to in a moment. But y'all know how I do from the very beginning. I got to give a shout out to the sponsors who help make it happen. You guys watching makes it happen first and foremost. So if you just watch, retweet, share, whatever you do, if you told somebody, hey, go watch this guy, you guys help the most out of anybody, period. And I'm being 1000% serious. But shout out to my sponsors, of course, patriotpost.us. If you're looking for a good and trusted source of news and information, go to patriotpost.us. Also, go to Mr1920.com for some beautiful handmade American soaps. That's right, soaps, body soap, face soap, whatever you need. They got it at Mr1920.com. Also, go to bhetdesigns.com for these beautiful handmade wooden flags that are behind me. Get ones just like that, or one specific to your taste, your needs, whether it be large size. These behind me are a large size, by the way. Get a large size, smaller, little baby size, whatever you need. They got it at bhetdesigns.com. And of course, my website, anthonyblogan.com. That is ANTHONY, the letter B, LOGAN.com. If you want to know anything about me, for the most part, it's there. If you want to send me a letter through the snail mail, you want to send me an email, all my contact info is up there. I got my P.O. box, my email address, all my social media platforms that I'm on. So if you see something that's strange, like there's something kind of weird going on where there's these bots impersonating me on YouTube. One thing to know, if you don't see my name with the verified mark beside it, like if you don't see that, the way it looks on the YouTube video that I post, if it doesn't look like that, it's not me. And I would never, ever, ever DM or comment to any of you guys about money at all. So they say something about, oh, DM me for some Cash App or this particular stock out. That's not me. I would never do that. But you can always double check by emailing me or contacting me through the ways that are listed on my website if you are unsure whether it's me or not. And also, I write all my articles on there. For each video, there's an article, whether it be a long article, short article, and I source all my stuff. I pay for subscriptions to certain leftist websites. I pay for a New York Times subscription just for y'all, just to get the information from that side of the aisle. You know, they're not going to stop me with paywalls and stuff like that. I'm going to get you the information, period. So AnthonyBLogan.com, all my sources and things attributed to each video I do right there, and also all my contact information. And then we got ABLmerch.com. We still got a handful of these USA special edition hats with the camo on the front. You can go hunting, shoot some wild hogs or whatever you want to do, but at the same time patriotic. You got the stripes on this side, got the stars on that side. We got a few more of these plus a few more, and we're coming up with some more merch very soon. I've been designing stuff because you guys know I design all the merch. All right, so what else we got? We got a whole lot going on as far as news that has been happening over the past few days, weeks, months. I think I'm going to start with, let's start with something kind of light. Let's start with the whole Normies situation. Now, I did a video today, yesterday, but I put it out today, about this UK TV station that's warning parents about certain language that their children may see on the internet that could be, a symbol of a dangerous place. Now, if you guys watch me at all, y'all know how I do. When I talk about regular people that don't really know what's going on, they don't really follow politics like that. They go to work, go to school, take care of their kids. Maybe they're young people. They're not really knowing what's happening. Normal people, I call them normies. It's just normal people don't know what's going on. So I say regular, everyday normie to refer to the average person just walking around in the world, especially in the U.S. Regular, everyday normie. But apparently, according to this UK TV station, I think it's called ITV, that may be a symbol that they are involved in some dangerous types of communities. Now, I think what happened was there was some kind of attack out there in UK. Matter of fact, I know there's speaking of on my website, I got it right here. There was an attack out there. Matter of fact, hold on. Okay. Let me see. So there was a shooting, I guess, in a place called Plymouth out there in UK. Not Plymouth Rock like US, but it's in UK. So apparently the guy had been going on forums and stuff like that, and they want to call him an incel. I won't get into that particular rabbit hole right now, but basically they were calling him kind of a loser, whatever. He was getting involved in some of these extremist type forums, but an extremist. I don't think that if you go to a forum and they're talking about normies, triggered normies, that is really a dangerous place. Not really. You know, if you see anybody that wants to threaten someone from that kind of world, in reality, 99 times out of 100 or more than that, they won't do a thing when they see you in person. You know, a lot of these internet tough guys, they're not going to do anything to you. You know, they just really just like to do that because they have the shield of anonymity or the barrier of the internet. They know that they won't go anywhere beyond just, electronic communication. So they talk big and bad and bold, but they won't really do anything. But memes, it just kind of goes back to, remember the whole Pepe scare when they had the frog memes and they were saying, hey, if your son or is posting this and they're going to a forum that has these frogs, they might be a white supremacist. It's like, really? So let me get this straight. There are actual white supremacist people out there. It's only a handful of them. And I think the last few might have went on Maury in the 1990s. It's weird how they didn't hurt anybody on the mark. But anyway, I digress. It's only a handful of these guys left. And some of these real, kind of like white-centered gangs, they are like based in the penitentiary. Your ABs, people like that. And I don't think these guys that are in the penitentiary probably smoke meth for a living when they home. I don't think these guys are the ones on the internet posting frog memes. I don't think these guys are the ones talking about triggered normies and things of that nature. Something tells me, I have a hunch, a little bit of a clue, an inkling that these guys in the penitentiary smoking crack for a living, they're not going to be the ones on the internet posting edgy memes that could be considered racial. I say that to say this. The people that say, Look out for words like normie and triggered normie. I mean, come on. That's nothing. That's just internet talk. Is nothing really. And the word triggered, that comes from the left. When they would see a certain thing that the funniest thing I saw was this video. I wish I could find it. I know it's somewhere where it was this meeting, I think at a college, probably on the left coast somewhere. And instead of clapping, they had to do the jazz hands. Remember that video I did? Some of you guys may have seen it back when I covered it, but they couldn't clap because that would trigger people. Too much, abrasive, harsh noise at once. That's triggering to my senses. It might make me feel a little afraid and uncomfortable and unsafe. So rather than clapping, you got to do jazz hands. That's the way you express yourself to avoid triggering people. So we just took that word they use amongst themselves to describe things that make them feel unsafe, to describe how soft they are, and we use it against them. Oh, you're triggered. If I say, hey, you know what? It doesn't make sense to have a high minimum wage and they want to get offended, have a meltdown, start screeching. I say you're triggered. That is not a word that's used really to describe a dangerous person, or it's not used from a dangerous person to attack someone. That's just not the reality of what it is. So yeah, these people are kind of weird. Can I find this video? Hold on. I think I have it right here. Yeah, here we go. Let's check it out. I already did my video on it, but I want you guys to see it so you can kind of understand what I'm talking about in case you have not seen it. So let's get a little bit of sound here. And let's turn on the desktop. Give me one moment. And there we go. Also stuff like based, normie. It's just like, man, come on. This is just like Reddit talk.
Can parents look out for maybe language that they use, their young sons might be using,
telltale
or
signs,
behaviour that they might have?
Yes, they can. So there are lots of bits of language that might be red flags referring to people as normies or as triggered. Normies is the word incels use for people outside their community. Triggered, based, cucked, describing being red-pilled or black-pilled, which are words they use to describe being infiltrated into the ideology.
And the red pill, black pill, all that came from the Matrix. Like, how is that somehow dangerous? But I digress.
And it's worth saying as well that they see this as a kind of conduit to other forms of extremism. It isn't completely separate from far white nationalist, white supremacist movements. They actually really see it as a slipway. So parents might see a combination of perhaps also racism creeping in as well. The incel community is a very racist community. This is a racist ideology. And of course, white supremacist is a deeply misogynistic ideology.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that? But see, you know what? This is what's being taught at some of these schools, K through 12. So imagine a little kid, he's 11 years old, getting taught this, and his mind's like a sponge, taking in everything, and he's being taught this. This is totally misinformation or just a straight lie, just not even really real. That was crazy, but they're being taught this. See, this is part of the reason why I'm here. This is why I'm here, to fight against that. Now, you guys heard it. Talking about, well, if you use words like triggered and triggered normies and black pill, red pill, then that means you're like a white supremacist. Or the funniest part is when she said white supremacy is, I guess, steeped in misogyny. It's like, all right, well, which one is worse, because they want to look at a white supremacist as dangerous. They might go out there and kill you. Is that worse than being a misogynist or nah? I think we know which one is worse based upon how she was talking and the way she was trying to illustrate that. And she said that incels are racist. I don't really understand that part. So let me get this straight. And again, we got little kids watching, so no foul stuff in the chat, please, you guys. But you know what I'm talking about. So if you're having a hard time finding a young lady to be with, if you're having a hard time getting a date, you're kind of nerdy or whatever, that means you're racist too? How does that make any sense? I mean, maybe you're just having a hard time and you're trying to get yourself together. Does it mean you're a racist? This is crazy, but this is what is being taught. When you're talking about critical race theory, when you're talking about academia in general, K through 12, college, they're being taught stuff like this. So this is why people go on TikTok and they think that they are now a fox or a deer. They think they're every animal in the meadow, a manger, a zoo, a bog, a swamp, anything other than a human being. And if you think differently, or you're misogynistic and you're racist, what? It doesn't make sense when you think about it, obviously, for a second. But if you look at it from their point of view, they've been brainwashed to believe this. So yeah, they're going to believe in it. Why wouldn't they believe in it? This is what they've been taught their whole life. This is why, or part of the reason why, in North Korea, if Kim Jong-un walks by, everybody start breaking out crying and they clap like, because part of that is they have to. If they don't clap like Michael Jackson came back to life and did a performance like in 1984 again, if they don't clap like that, they may not have a life anymore to live. But beyond that, they look at this person as like an exalted figure because of what they've been brainwashed to believe their entire life. What they've been taught to believe. They think this is the truth. And you can't really take them away from it. This is why you got to kind of get them early. And they know that. People that want to push critical race theory, they know that. That's why they want to push the LGBTQ elemental P, X, Y, and Z stuff to them at a very early age. Because if they're able to get them at their early age, then once they get to be an adult, they got them. There's no need to try and brainwash an adult when they've already been taught the way that people want them to think early, if that makes any sense. So yeah, shout out to them and shout out to the bearded boomer guy that was like, yeah, that's correct. Oh, Sean Connery looking dude talking about she's on point. She's completely off point. And she probably has been brainwashed just the same as all the rest of these people that believe what she's saying is true. Okay. So yeah, indoctrination. Yeah, it's to the point now where K through 12 education is not that. It's indoctrination. And then they have the audacity to want to close schools. You guys may have seen the last show I did where I said that Cleveland, Tennessee had shut down their schools for the rest of the week. So that was on the Wednesday when I said that. They shut it down Thursday and Friday because of inadequate staff. Not only do they want to brainwash you, they can't even really staff the school to continue the brainwashing. Then they say, okay, you got to go home and you got to get brainwashed by us there. It's so dumb. It's so silly. I think they're talking about trying to reform the police, trying to reform this, reform that. I'm like, how about reform school? How about reform K through 12 education? And be honest about some of these kids' ability, or give them more options, because a lot of these kids, I mean, when you get to be 14 years old and you can't read, it's like, all right, what are we really going to do here? Are we going to try to get you into STEM and some of this high tech stuff? If you can't even read and write your own name barely, you can't differentiate between there, there, and there at 14. How about get into a trade or something like that and have that be available readily at a school? Put money into that. I'm seeing some of these schools getting $11,000 per student, $15,000 per student, and the kids graduate without the ability to read and no skills. Obviously, the money's not going toward the right place. But what they can do is talk about all the genders there are, how many genders. It's talking about men being able to get pregnant. And it's so dumb that the education is going in the reverse. Things that are factually true, things that we know to be true, are now considered to be false if you say them. Prime example is men can get pregnant. We know that can't happen. We know that men cannot get pregnant, period. I don't care what somebody wants to call themselves. You could call yourself a saber-toothed tiger. You can call yourself a puff of train smoke, a bright idea. You can refer to yourself as recycled organic matter. I don't care what it is. Women have babies, men can't, period. XX or XY. Break it down like that is very easy. But now we're being told that men can have babies. Since when? And then they say men can breastfeed, but they don't say breastfeed, they say chest feed. But men also have breasts. This is biological fact. They don't have the same breasts that women have, obviously, but they do have breasts. So why call it chest feeding? especially if it's a woman breastfeeding a baby. It's so dumb, but this is where we at nowadays. So yeah, rather than trying to reform the police for no good reason, rather than trying to reform this and reform that, how about we reform some of these K through 12 education indoctrination facilities? Reform some of these weirdo teachers that want to get attention, that want to go on TikTok and make viral videos about themselves, about how they came out to the class as gender nonconforming. It's like, sir, you have on a set of box braids in your hair talking about you're non-binary. It's like, all right, man, look, you got a pretty hairstyle or whatever. That's great, fantastic. But you were born Jerome Smith. I'm going to call you Jerome Smith. Or I'm going to see you as that. Your new name might be, I don't know, Flower Girl. That's fine. But check it out. At the end of the day, biology is still undefeated. But I digress. Thank y'all for being here. I appreciate you guys. If you enjoyed what you're hearing so far, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. If you could do that for me, I'd most certainly appreciate you. And speaking about teachers and academia, K through 12, how we need to reform that and some of these weirdo teachers, let's talk about this teacher here who mocked the American flag, but then said, you know what? You can say the pledge to the LGBTQ LMNOP flag. Let's check it out. This is a TikTok video, of course. And shout out to Trump. Trump tried to warn us about TikTok. He said, look, let's ban TikTok. It's Chinese. They're trying to infiltrate us this way. He warned us, but here we are. It didn't happen. And now we get a lot of it's weird how the propaganda is coming from within and it's being pushed out to the public. I feel like a lot of these videos are promoted by TikTok to make it to the top so everybody sees it. You know, it's for me, I have to talk about it because I can't let it be out there because some little kid is going to believe this is true when it's not true. So let's put it on the screen. You can kind of already see what's going on, but I'm gonna go ahead and play it.
Okay, so during third period, we have announcements and they do the Pledge of Allegiance. I always tell my class, stand if you feel like it, don't stand if you feel like it, say the words if you want, don't have to say the words.
First of all, let's just pause right there. When I was a kid, it wasn't an option. Stand for the flag, don't stand for the flag, say the words, don't say the words. If you didn't stand for the flag and say the pledge, you would get in trouble. You might mess around and get suspended for that, 3-day suspension. And I've always gone to majority black schools. I didn't go to a school that had less than 80% black population until high school, and that was still majority black. Like 55% black, and the next highest group were whites at like 30-something%. So it's not a race thing, it's just an American thing, but I digress.
So my class decided to stand but not say the words. Totally fine. Except for the fact that my room does not have a flag. It used to be there. But I took it down during COVID because it made me uncomfortable. And
so the American flag made you uncomfortable? Why? I mean, where do you live at, ma'am? Do you live in Australia? Do you live in UK? Do you live in Pakistan, India, wherever you're from, Iran? So why does the flag of the country you live make you uncomfortable? How does it make any sense? I could see if it was, the Iranian flag and you live in America and, you're not an Iranian citizen, you're an American. It's like, okay, why is that here? But you're an American, I would presume. Maybe you're illegal, but that's a different story.
And I packed it away and I don't know where, and I haven't found it yet. But my kid today goes, hey, it's kind of weird that we just stand and then, we say it to nothing. And I'm like, oh, well, I got to find it. Like, I'm working on it. I got you.
How old are you, though? This is like, you know what? That's a red flag right there. When you got these people that are like really silly like that, you have an adult that's like behaving like a 13-year-old. That's a red flag right there. I put her on a watch list for you know what, but I'll move on.
In the meantime, I tell this kid, we do have a flag in the class that you can pledge your allegiance to. And he looks around and he goes, oh, that one?
Now, if you're not able to see it, if you're listening to audio only, this is one of those brand new LGBTQ elemental P flags that has the black and brown and the trans and all that kind of stuff on it. It's to the point now, you might as well just put everything on there. Just go to you know where we're going with all this. You know what the next step is. You know how they progress. First it's just, about LGBT, then it's T, then it's, some racial stuff in there, the black and brown, the BLM. The black and brown stripe represents BLM because that's an LGBT group in there, black and brown. But then they're going to go to something else that I won't say on this live stream because we got little babies watching, but you already know where it's going. So you may as well have that flag up in the class. And my thing is, okay, you can have that flag up and it's fine. You have no problem with that. Let's make you uncomfortable. But what if I told you, hey, teacher, you know what? I'm a straight person. I don't like that flag. I feel uncomfortable. I take it down. Would you want to do that? But when you take the American flag down because you're uncomfortable, then that's fine. It's no big deal, right? And this is unfortunately very common for people to behave this way when you're talking about teachers, K through 12, even college. You got a lot of silly people that are in here trying to teach your children. So yeah, the whole thing is crazy. Yeah, that Kamala laugh for no reason, for no reason at all. And the weirdest thing, seeing people try to defend Kamala and her cackle, it's like, why defend that? What's the purpose? She'll laugh at inappropriate times. It's like, learn how to behave when you're in certain situations. You get off the plane and asking about Afghanistan, you're like, cackling. It's like, what's funny? Why gather your thoughts that way? If you're gathering your thoughts with a cackle, why do that? Just, behave normally. Do it that way and have that be that. Exactly, Santo Bartez. It's not teaching, it's indoctrination. 100%. And you know what? There's a lot of people just like her. She's just one person that we're able to identify right now on the internet, but her line of reasoning, her thought process is very similar to the person we just saw on the other video talking about triggered normies and things like that. They probably would be besties if they hang out with each other. They got the same kind of ideology, the same kind of mind state. This is why it's important to not allow CRT to take hold, because the objective is to produce morons like what you just saw in both of the videos. It won't be a need for an external revolution to come in and try to change people. It'll be internal with social media. That's their objective. So yeah, be careful of some of these weirdos. Be careful. All right, I have more clips that I want to show you guys. Let's get to the next one here. Hold on one second. Wait. Now here's another, I suppose, LGBTQ elemental, not really sure. Now this one is kind of spicy, not in a weird way, but it's controversial. I'll put it to you like that. Now, I just want to say this before I play it. I don't condone anything that's said in the video, period. However, I need to show this to show how some people may feel about, martial law, about the state of the country, about law in the country, law enforcement, the military. I got to show you this clip right quick. And if you're on Twitter like I am, you probably seen it already, but I'm going to show it to you guys right here. And again, TikTok video, of course. It's weird how these videos always come from TikTok, but never a Facebook or Twitter or YouTube. Again, I feel like they're being promoted on purpose by TikTok, which is owned by the Chinese Communist Party. Any company in China must operate through the CCP. That's non-negotiable. If you are in China and you're a business and you don't have anybody from the CCP, in the pocket or on the board or both, then you're in violation. You might mess around and get missing some kind of way. If you are a Chinese citizen or if you're over there in general, if you're over there and they could do something to you, they might do something to you. So, and to describe it for those who are not watching, you have a person that is apparently a U.S. military member, an LGBT lady with one of these Bob Saget Full House type haircuts. Or I'm not sure what kind of haircut that is, but you already know kind of where I'm going. A dude haircut, kind of low on the side, the little swoop, the low swoop in the front on the top. She's responding to a concerned citizen about martial law and things of that nature.
What's up, TikTok? So this happened.
This is a message for our United States military.
Now, the person talking now is a concerned citizen.
The Air Force, the Army, the Marines, the Navy, Coast Guard, SpaceX.
SpaceX? You mean the program that was made by the guy who makes Teslas? Space Force, my guy. Moving right along.
Everybody that considers himself a person that would defend this fucking country.
Sorry for the cursing. It's not my fault. Blame the white lady in this particular case.
Where are you?
I'm at work. Defending this fucking country.
We thought the military took an oath to protect this country. They took an oath to protect our Constitution. That includes enemies, foreign and domestic.
We did take that oath to protect and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. You know, domestic. Like a woman who decided to drive her vehicle through a National Guard vaccination tent. But keep that same energy.
Where are you, military? Because if you're leaving it up to the American people, you need to let us know, because everybody's on the edge of their seat. You've got millions and millions of gun owners that are ready to walk out and just start a complete fucking bath. And we're beginning to wonder where our fucking military.
I mean, I'm no expert, but that sounded like a terroristic threat. Because not you talking about a bunch of gun owners going out and starting a bloodbath. Like, have you never heard of the Insurrection Act? There's reasons why the military doesn't deploy within the U.S. And if they did, your little good old boy system is not going to fare well for you. Understand that if active duty military actually get deployed within the United States, that weapon is not just pointed at other people, other countries. It's pointed at you.
Let's pause for a minute. Meanwhile, full uniform. Can you say things like that while you in full uniform? I'm not saying she's correct or incorrect at this particular point, but can you do that while in uniform? Is that permitted? We'll see.
If you do not get in your house when I tell you to, you become the enemy. Martial law, you know, where your rights get curtailed. You don't have all those same freedoms that the Constitution guarantees at that point. So be careful what you wish for and stop opining about things you don't understand. Okay, bye.
Now, see, what was that, though? Now, that was crazy because, all right, was that a threat? Was that a threat? Like, you know what? So what? You got guns, it's whatever. We can do whatever to you. It's kind of like, you know, saying it's kind of like provocation. The argument could be made that the lady that was talking, the citizen, was kind of like provocating, but the U.S. military service person, I don't know what kind of gender that person was, what kind of fake gender they created for themselves, but whatever. Bulldagger, that's a gender. Anyway, was that provocation? Was that a threat? It's crazy. So I don't think anybody really wants that kind of outcome. And I don't think it's appropriate for anybody in the military to be talking about it or hinting toward it. You know, because at that point, you're talking about a civil war. That's what that means. And some military are not going to be with it. You're going to have sides that are drawn at that point. And I don't think that we'll get to that particular point. I don't think so. That's not really going to be the case. Yeah, that was definitely a threat. But maybe I'm wrong about that. If y'all let me know in the comments. Yeah, the military normally would not be deployed in the country. As far as martial law, that's a different story. But if we get into that point where the military are deployed against U.S. citizens, it's pretty much over at that point. So I don't think that's going to really happen. So there's no purpose in anybody in the military, especially in full uniform, trying to allude to that or trying to say what would happen in that scenario, especially when targeted to a specific person, a specific civilian. That's not how that goes. Yeah, but we'll see. Is that person going to get reprimanded? Are they going to get thrown in the brig? They're going to get kicked out, dishonorable discharge, or are they going to get some kind of medal from Millie and all these guys all these LGBT warriors in the military. Do you guys know that who was that? Millie and someone else played football together. You guys know what I'm talking about, though. Remember Levine? So the guy, here it is. So these two gentlemen played football together in high school. Who I have on the screen, if you can't see it, this is Mark Millie and Rachel, aka Rick Levine. All right. So Mark Millie, if you don't know, obviously well-decorated general. He's the guy that said he wants to understand what white rage is about and why these people went to the Capitol on January 6th. He wants to understand white rage. And obviously, Rachel Levine is, what is she? Or they, or he, or whatever. I forget what that's the HHS secretary. The Human Services, the Health Services Secretary is an LGBT transformer by the name of Rachel Levine. They played high school football together. I mean, now I see them side by side. There could be some kin, quite frankly. But doesn't that kind of give you a little bit of understanding of why they may think this way? What kind of people are in the government? You see, I respect the military. I respect the police. I respect people of authority. However, there are some definite leftist people in these positions that should not be there who are doing damage to this country. Okay, if you have a clear mental illness, how are you the health secretary? How does it make any sense? But hey, it is what it is. It's a lot of things like that's going on. People that know each other for a long time, going back to high school, elementary school, or whatever, that you wouldn't even really think about. But it makes sense why they get along, why they're in D.C. It's like a fraternity. And in that case, a real fraternity, because you got two men. All right. But let's get to a few more here. And thank y'all for joining in. We got a nice little crowd. We'll get to the calls in a few minutes, so y'all just hang tight. If you enjoy what you're hearing so far, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Also, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. If you're listening on your favorite audio streaming platform, whether it be Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, Apple, iTunes, etc., give me a 5-star rating, a review, whatever you can over there. I'd most certainly appreciate you if you did. That'll help me out a whole lot. And let's get into some more clips that I have. We got to talk about your man. Got to talk about your man, Joe Biden. Now, I don't know if he was sleeping, but it looks like he was sleeping. If he was not sleeping, then I cannot tell. Let's play that clip right quick. Now, he's talking to Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett in the White House. I think it's in the Oval Office or somewhere. And you got to see this on audio. I mean, probably on video. But if you're on audio only, you have Biden on the right side, Naftali on the left. Now, Naftali Bennett, he's sitting up straight. He's kind of forward in his chair, both feet on the ground, hands in front of him, like in between his knees. He's looking at Joe Biden. He has a yarmulke on, of course. He's talking to Joe Biden, and Biden is kind of more leaned back in his chair. He does not have a forward posture. He has his hands kind of interlaced, like on his belly. His head is down, his eyes are closed, and he has a mask on. Bennett has no mask on. Biden is not saying a word. There's no eye contact because his eyes are closed. He appears to be sleeping. Let's play the clip right quick.
Yet another chapter in the beautiful story of the friendship between our two nations, the United States of America and the Jewish and democratic state of Israel. Both of us who seek to do good and need to be strong. Both of us who are yet another chapter.
So it's a short clip, but throughout that entire 22 seconds, Biden has his eyes closed. He's taking a nap. He's taking a nap. He did that same exact thing during the Afghanistan disaster of a press conference. He did the same thing. Like little micro naps here and there. He's sleeping. People talking about, oh, he was listening. You don't listen with your eyes closed. If somebody's talking to me, I'm not gonna be like this. You know, with my eyes closed, listening. Like, yeah, I'm listening. Like he's looking at you. You make eye contact. You talk. You don't just be having your eyes closed. He was sleeping. So I don't really see how people can defend this man for too much longer, knowing that he's in this state, in this medical state. He's not well. He's not really there all the way. It's clear what's happening. And I think what's going to end up happening is that they're going to give him the 25th Amendment and remove him from office. It won't really matter, quite frankly, because whoever they put in there will be the same as him, just not maybe as sleepy and as ridiculous as far as their appearance, but they'll be the same because they won't actually govern. As I've said before, these people don't really govern. Trump was a guy that actually governed. He actually was the president and led from the front. People could say that he made mistakes or missteps. That's fine, because if you're looking for perfection, you won't find it until Jesus comes back, right? It's okay for Trump to have imperfections. The point is, regardless of whether he was great, terrible, imperfect, in between, irrelevant, he led from the front. He was not a guy that was an empty suit or a husk of a man like Joe Biden is. Joe Biden pretty much is a dead man out there. No threat to the Google moderators. I know you guys are listening and watching. And also no threat to the federales watching. Hey, federales, if you watch me, hopefully you enjoy the show. You know, tell your kids to watch it. This is a good, wholesome show that your whole family can watch. So shout out to the feds watching the show. But you guys understand what I'm saying. Biden is not a lively person. He's not. And everybody knows that. He was the same way during the campaign. Weekend at Bernie's. You know, like a sock puppet at this point. So when they remove him or when he steps down, whichever comes first, they'll just replace him with Kamala, and she'll do the same things that he was doing. The same thing did with Andrew Cuomo, right? They got him out of office, but there's no change in the governorship because whoever they put in there is doing the same things that he did. Minus all the scandal. It's like they're able to wipe all the scandal away from the governorship because the guy who was in office when these things happened, the guy who was responsible, is no longer there. So the new person, the lady they put in there, oh, I didn't do that. That was Andrew Cuomo. But she'll continue to do the same things that Andrew Cuomo would have done. So it doesn't make a difference. We got to get a new administration in there to replace the current one because these guys are a bunch of bumbling idiots just trying to throw whatever they can at the wall, see if it sticks. And it's not sticking. And that's just, it's just sliding right on down the wall. It's not sticking at all. It's not working. But yeah, this guy's terrible. Joe Biden. And I know you guys saw that, what was that? I know you guys saw that Afghanistan press conference. Terrible. Terrible. Did I cover that last time on the show? I'm not sure if I did. But that press conference was probably one of the worst ones I've seen in a long time. It was really up there with some of the worst. But again, no surprise. No surprise at all. Oh, in the moment, I know you guys have seen this right here. This you had to have seen. This moment right here. This is a meme, obviously. But this is pretty much what it might as well have been like this. When he put his chin into his clasped hands that were holding a notebook. It's like, why would you even do that? What was the purpose? People talking about, oh, he was thinking about his son that died. It's like, no, he wasn't. This was long after he mentioned his son. He mentioned his son during the beginning of his talk at the press conference. This happened while he was talking to Peter Doocy. You know, they're going back and forth about whatever. And as Doocy was asking him a question, he did this. For what reason, I don't know. Maybe he got tired right there, needed a nap. But that's what he might as well have done. Got a pillow and just rested right there on stage. That's what it appeared like he was doing. Not that he was sad about his son or whatever. That whole thing was crazy. I never seen anybody do that before. I never seen any politician just do that randomly on stage. It's like, what are you doing? Even if you get emotional, you don't do stuff like that. That was weird. Okay, so I have the video of that particular moment. Oh, and also, I'm going to play that one and also the other one we got to play. So let's put this on the screen right quick. He was stressed. Yeah, I mean, maybe he was stressed. You know, being a president is stressful, ain't it? I think Trump showed us that. But guess what? You know what time it is when you sign up. If you're running for president, you know there's going to be a hard job. You're not selling hot dogs at a stand in the ballpark. This is real life. This is real. You're on the real stage here, sir. And if you're not prepared to deal with it, then don't deal with it. But let's put it on the screen right quick. And I'll play some of this. It's kind of long, but I'll play some of it. This is when Biden was at the press conference and he took questions. And also, matter of fact, I got to play the first one first to give you the context. So he gave his little talk or whatever. And afterward, he then was calling on people to ask questions. Let's play this clip to get that context. Then we'll play the head and the hands, baby nap moment. Let's put it on the screen right quick.
Thank you. May God bless you all, and may God protect the troops and all those standing watch for America. We have so much to do. It's within our capacity to do it. We just have to remain steadfast. Steadfast. We will complete our mission, and we will continue after our troops have withdrawn to find means by which we can find any American who wishes to get out of Afghanistan. We will find them and we will get them out. Ladies and gentlemen, they gave me a list here. The first person I was instructed to call on was Kelly O'Donnell of NBC.
So did you hear that last part? They gave me a list here. The first person I was instructed to call on was Kelly O'Donnell of NBC. Instructed? Sir, if you are being instructed how to run a press conference, I mean, how are you going to run the country? Are you being told what to do when it comes to foreign policy, domestic policy, everything else? What do you do as a president? Nothing? I presume not. If you're being told who to call on at a press conference, you don't control anything. Like I said, he is a figurehead, empty suit, a husk of a man. They give him an itinerary. They give him certain orders. Say, hey, man, here's what you got to do for the day. Read that. Take that. Go out there. Matter of fact, go down to the basement right now. We won't need you right now. Go to the basement, eat your Jell-O, whatever, and we'll call you when it's time to go back up. Take a nap, whatever you got to do. Do your crossword puzzles. We'll call you when it's time to go back up. That's kind of what Joe Biden is right now. But I think that he's kind of embarrassed about that, right? I think he's embarrassed about that. And why wouldn't you be? If you care about yourself at all as a person, as a human being, you don't want to be used like this. Like you're pretty much an instrument. It could be thrown away, discarded at any point in time. So I think Joe Biden wanted to take some control and be his own man. And rather than being told who to call on, rather than being told what to do and how to do it, he wanted to kind of go be a maverick and call on whoever he wanted to call on. So here's the next clip where Peter Doocy got involved. And Fox News, if you didn't know. So let's roll this clip here.
I'll take one more question. Wait. Let me take the one question from the most interesting guy that I know in the press. That's you.
Mr. President, there had not been a U.S. service member killed in combat in Afghanistan since February of 2020. You set a deadline, you pulled troops out, you sent troops back in, and now 12 Marines are dead. You said the buck stops with you. Do you bear any responsibility for the way that things have unfolded in the last 2 weeks?
I bear responsibility for fundamentally all that's happened of late. But here's the deal. You know, I wish you'd one day say these things. You know as well as I do that the former president made a deal with the Taliban.
Pause right there. He said, the question was, is it your fault, basically? Is it your fault? Your responsibility? He's like, yes, I bear all responsibility for what happened. But your man, the former president, Donald Trump, signed a deal. So basically saying, yeah, it's my fault, but it's not my fault.
That he would get all American forces out of Afghanistan by May 1. In return, the commitment was made, and that was a year before. In return, he was given a commitment that the Taliban would continue to attack others, but would not attack any American forces.
Taliban, what is that? I thought it was Taliban, but I digress.
Remember that? I'm being serious. No, I'm asking you a question. Because before... No, wait a minute. I'm asking you a question. Is that accurate, the best of your knowledge? What?
So now here comes the back and forth, and here comes the president retreating into a turtle shell motion with the hand on his chin and his mouth right there with his fingers at. What is this? What in the world is this? How is that a response to, if you can't handle Peter Doocy, a Fox News reporter, how are you going to handle Xi Jinping? How are you going to handle Vladimir Putin? How are you going to handle the Taiwan situation, South China Sea, Hong Kong, Crimea, some of these African, North African, Arab? How are you going to handle that stuff when you can't even handle, when you fold like a turtle into a shell over Peter Doocy of Fox News?
That people have an issue with pulling out of Afghanistan or just the way that things have happened?
I think they have an issue that people are likely to get hurt. Some, as we've seen, have gotten killed, and that it is messy. The reason why, whether my friend will acknowledge it or has reported it, the reason why there were no attacks on Americans, as you said, from the date until I came into office, was because the commitment was made by President Trump, I will be out by May 1st. In the meantime, you agree not to attack any Americans. All
right, I don't got to put the whole thing, but you guys kind of see what's going on. Like, basically, it's Trump's fault. But in between the back and forth, you kind of do the turtle shell thing. What was that, though? My thing is, okay, like, all right, you having a back and forth, you having a disagreement, argument, a discussion, whatever. Why would you make that kind of motion? What's going on with your mind, sir, Mr. Joe Biden, if you're listening? If you're watching, any Joe Biden fans watching, how do you explain that? How do you explain that particular motion? The facts of the Afghanistan situation aside, explain that. And he does that kind of stuff all the time. All the time. I remember when Trump was in office, anything that he would do would get scrutinized by the media incessantly. He drank water with one hand under the cup. Oh, he can't drink water. He's having motor skill issues, all this and that and the third. He's got Parkinson's. He's shaking and baking, all this and that. And then they said, when he walked on the ramp, it might have been at West Point, oh, he can't walk. He almost fell. The stupidest stuff, but they would do it. But when Joe Biden fell down on the stairs, the Air Force One, that's not really news. We'll cover that for a few seconds on the air, then that's it. Won't cover it no more. And then when there's this whole turtle shell motion for no reason at all, we'll just leave that alone. The picture went viral, obviously, because people are seeing it around the world and in the U.S., obviously. We're like, what's going on here? So, yeah, I mean, 81 million is impossible in my mind to believe that 81 million people supported this man. That's just my humble opinion, my thought process. I don't know what happened with whatever. I'm just saying it's unlikely in my mind that he has 81 million or more supporters in the US of A. But hey, anything's possible. I mean, if you identify as a Thomas Tank Engine, you might be a Biden supporter. There's a whole lot of those that are out there. Some of these, half-wits. So maybe it's possible. Who knows? But thank y'all again for being here. I appreciate you guys. If you enjoy what you're hearing so far, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Also, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Did I get everything I wanted to get to? Oh, ESPN, right quick, to speak about ESPN. So ESPN essentially benched Rachel Nichols, and I say it's about time. Okay, we got to you. Thank you. I say it's about time they went ahead and benched Rachel Nichols because she had to have been one of the worst on-air people I've seen in a long time. One of the worst. ESPN has been garbage for a long time, and it's because of Disney, really. Back in the day, before the Disney era really took over, they were great. Stuart Scott, rest in peace. Even before Keith Olbermann went crazy, he was a good anchor on ESPN. Dan Patrick, Chris Berman, all these guys were great. But then here comes Deadspin, here comes ESPN, Disney, here comes Bob Iger, all these guys. It went straight down. It became this really weird culture, this corporate culture, and it was just strange. Rather than being able to watch my basketball game without having any kind of weird stuff thrust upon me, now I got to hear Bob Costas talk about wildlife preservation and saving the rainforest. It's like, man, look, I don't care about any of that political stuff. I just want to see a good football game, good basketball game, right? I'm a political guy, obviously. I enjoy talking about politics, but can I get a break? Can I just enjoy a football game without all the extra stuff involved with it? Nope. So they went ahead and benched Rachel Nichols because of the very thing that she would support. She'd be on the air talking to guys about the Me Too movement and how they were accused of X, Y, and Z against their ex-wife, and should anybody support them because of that? Speaking about, I think it might have been Floyd Mayweather, she accused of that. Adrian Bronner, a bunch of guys. You are all on guys' backs because of this Me Too stuff. You want to be a woke warrior, but you get basically released while still under contract for some of the woke stuff. You're on tape talking about, hey, I am the host of the NBA Finals. You can't have this black woman come and take it from me. Now, we got to have equality, all that, and third. Okay, it's great. But don't take my job. Oh, okay, so it's okay to go on there and talk about the Me Too movement and make, these kind of accusations against guys you think have done something, and why should anybody support them? That's okay. But then when it comes to your job, oh, don't take that from me. Don't do that. Let's not have equality, all this, that, and the third when it comes to me. Do that for them. Do that for the other guys that I interrogate basically on air. She sucks. So I'm glad she went ahead and got benched by ESPN. They took her off all NBA programming. They canceled her show. I say it's about time. And really, they can revamp the entire ESPN while they're at it because it's trash. All they did was just take some of the trash out of the landfill. That's just how I feel about it. So, yeah, shout out to them for doing that. And the funniest part was the whole drama surrounding Maria Taylor was really about a contract extension. That's what that was about. They leaked that tape of Rachel Nichols talking about Maria Taylor in the kind of racial way. So Maria Taylor was able to get more leverage in the contract negotiation. And she ended up leaving ESPN for NBC anyway at the end of it. So you get one person gone, didn't even get a new contract, and the other person complaining about the person that's already gone, she is gone too, while still being on the network. It's crazy. But hey, it is what it is. Yeah, and they probably will put more trash in. That's right, Joshua. Trash out and trash back in. It's like shoveling in a circle, basically. But thank y'all again for joining. We got super chats on deck, and then I'm going to get to the calls. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Yeah, I saw there was a drone strike in Afghanistan or some kind of strike. I'm not sure if it was a drone, if it was a straight plane strike or whatever. But, you know, part of me thinks that this whole exit was botched on purpose as an excuse to go back in full force or to start something that wasn't even really there. You know, that it's possible. You know, I don't have a tinfoil hat anywhere in the house, but I might need one for that one. I'll put it on and talk about it maybe. I mean, it all seems too convenient, right? This whole thing, as far as the withdrawal, was predictable. Everyone knew that if you withdrew too early, you didn't withdraw properly, there was going to be problems. Everyone knew that from the very beginning, but we did so anyway. Took the military out, middle of the night. Now you got suicide bombings happening. Now you got all kind of stuff going on. So now you got to go back in there with a drone strike. You named a brand new enemy rather than ISIS. You got a whole ISIS variant, ISIS-K. Oh, okay. Because who wants to hear about ISIS anymore? That's old school. We pretty much beat them already, right? But we got to rebrand them as a brand new thing. Rather than ISIS, call it ISIS-K. That'll stick to the public. You know, they don't know any better anyway. They think K is a letter in Afghanistan, which is not. But it don't matter because we'll call it that, ISIS-K. And do the very same thing we did under Barack Obama, drone striking and stuff like that. So, I mean, again, tinfoil hat take, but it's possible. Regardless of what, now we kind of gone back in there and we're doing some strikes. Will it be the last? Who knows? I can't really tell. But rest in peace to the 13 U.S. servicemen who lost their lives. 12 Marines and 1 Navy medic. Rest in peace. Young men and women, too. Young men, 20, 22, 23, very young. Unnecessarily didn't have to happen. If we did right, if we stuck to the original game plan that Trump laid out, this wouldn't have happened because they wouldn't have been in that position. They would have been in a fortified place at Bagram or somewhere. They would have, it would have been better. You would have had air support. It wouldn't have been this crazy thing that's going on right now. But here we are. ISIS with potassium, that's hilarious. Yeah, shout out to you for that one. Zero sugar ISIS, diet ISIS. But yeah, rest in peace to everybody that lost their lives. That was really sad, unnecessary, didn't have to happen. And hopefully we don't have any more incidents like that. Although they're saying that there's a very high probability of a terror attack on the airport at any moment. So it could be a suicide bomber that comes up and blows his vest up at any moment. They don't even really know. Because the area was secure, it was fortified, then it wasn't. And we got to go right back to the very same area with the same people when it's less secure, less fortified, less services available to do what we should have done before we left, before we unfortified the fortified area. It's dumb. It's not a conscious thought process. And I saw a Democrat go on television and say that there's no plan. The person asked the Democrat in office, some congressman or somebody, it's like, hey, you know, how you feel about the whole exit strategy? Was it a good one, bad one? He was like, well, it's no plan. We're just kind of doing whatever we can. You got guys that are flying to Kabul on their own, volunteering. You got some former military that are now civilian going to Kabul to rescue some of their allies. Just, you know, doing their own missions beyond the government. Now, you know it's bad when you're doing missions without the government to save government people, to save military members, to save servicemen and women. It's crazy, but this is where we are right now. All right. We got super chats on deck. I'm going to read these right quick, and then we're going to get to the calls. Somebody says Navy. Is it corpsman or corpsman, not medic? I mean, I'm not being disrespectful because I'm seeing him described as both. So I'm just reading what I see. Don't get mad at me for reading, you know. Shout out to Jettison who says, our leaders must wake up from their woke slumber. We need good leaders that put our immediate American interests first. And I'm with you on that 100%. And let's get super chats right quick. Let me go to this other little section. And we'll get to the calls in a few. I just hang tight. And all right, it's the 28th. Yes, it is. All right. Shout out to Apu, of course, for the super chats. Who says, RIP U.S. Marines, Nicole McGee, Johanny Rosario, David Lee Espinosa, Darren Taylor. It's kind of all mixed together. So if I say the names improperly, please forgive me. Hunter Lopez, Kareem Nikwai, Riley McCollum, Dylan Marola, Dagan Page, Humberto Sanchez, Jason Schmitz. God comfort the families. Right on. Also, RIP U.S. Navy medic. I'm reading the screen. Don't nobody get triggered. I'm reading. RIP U.S. Navy medic Maxton Soviet. RIP U.S. Army Sergeant Ryan Naus. God comfort their families. These brave young men and women died protecting the innocent and keeping the peace. May their lives be inspiration. Also, Marine Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Shellman, fired for telling the truth. Army Lieutenant Colonel Venman praised for being a lying snitch. No Biden cabinet member has either resigned or been fired. Shame on them. Democrats no honor. America first. Right on. Shout out to Ken Jeeper who says, thought I saw it all. And CDC comes out with inclusive language recommendations. Shaking my head. I sense a video coming. I've not seen. So they have inclusive language recommendations. Yeah, that might be a video for sure. I've not seen that one. But this whole thing, it's like, okay, the CDC, you're talking about, you need to be focused on diseases. Why be worried about language and trying to police speech? What's that got to do with disease? It's just like John Bell Edwards and the lady out there in Louisiana, I forget what her role was, FEMA director, talking about, yeah, so the hurricane's coming, and you know what you should do to get prepared? Get your vaccine. It's like, what? What's that got to do with it? Okay, so I may do a video on this, but the CDC published a guide to, quote, inclusive language in order to promote health equity and inclusive communication. Okay. Wait, okay. I'm gonna read this little piece and then I'm gonna move on to the rest of the super chats. The guy has multiple sections with suggestions for more inclusive language, including a section dedicated to, quote, corrections and detentions that suggests replacing terms such as inmate, prisoner, convict, ex-convict, and criminal with terms such as people, persons in pretrial or with charge, persons on parole or probation, or people in immigration detention facilities. I mean, why? Why, oh, why? For what purpose? So silly. All right. Shout out to Apple who says, whereas U.S. Marine General, James Mad Dog Mattis, the warrior monk, where are the 125 Republican military and intelligence officials that endorsed Biden for president in opposition to Donald J. Trump? Cowards. Where's the 81 million that say they voted for Joe Biden? Where's their support for them? Where's all the rallies in favor of Joe Biden? Where were the rallies before he became the president? Where's anything afterward? I don't see any. Ian Kinney says Cook County judge stripped a mother of her parental rights over vaccinations. I saw that. So here's what happened with that story for you guys that may not know. Now, I think in Chicago, Cook County, a mom has split custody of her son, 50-50 custody with her ex-husband. Now, they were in court for a child support hearing. I'm not sure what the context of it specifically was, whether she was getting paid, he was getting paid, I don't know. But they were in court for that. And then the judge randomly asked her, hey, are you vaccinated? Speaking to the mother. And she's like, no, because I've had negative reactions to vaccines in the past. And because of that, he stripped her of her parental rights. She can't visit her son anymore. Like anymore. Has not seen him since early August. But she was awarded split custody. So because she had no vaccine, now she can't be a mom. Is that legal? People are crazy, totally crazy. And my thing is, you have a 10, 11-year-old, something like that. He's not even at risk at all. So what is this? It's a political thing. Nothing to do with safety. It's so silly. It's so dumb. And the boy, if he's going to school, or anywhere in public, he's around people that have not had the shot, probably in close proximity to them. So what's the logic behind this? And even if everybody around him had the shot, this is his mother. Crazy. Is it legal? I don't think it's legal. But see, the problem is now you got to go to court to try and litigate that. You know, the question is always, why did anybody comply during World War II Germany? We see who would have complied back then. We see now. You know, it's kind of mind-blowing, but I think a lot of what's happening is fear. Fear and people power tripping. But thank you for that, Ian Kenny. I appreciate you. Apu gave me a few more here. Who says, what would the world be like today if President Clinton had taken up the Sudanese government's offer to arrest bin Laden and turn him over to the U.S.? I now remember that Slick Willie had other priorities. Oh, there you go. Mr. Obama been quiet since Super Spreader birthday. Very quiet. Apu says, review my family's military history. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Oh yeah, my dad was in the Marine Corps and also Air Force, but he was a firefighter mostly, 22 years, retired as a captain. He was in Marines reserves. Like he was in the Marines when he was like 17. He went to Parris Island, the whole thing. I think he did like 2 or 3 years in the Marines, like active, and then he became a reservist. And then later he became an Air Force reservist. But he did quite a few things, but he was in the Marines, yes, and also in the Air Force. Your mother was a hamster says, Mr. Logan, what do you think about U.S. veterans going rogue to save people in Afghanistan, i.e. Operation Pineapple Express? I think it's necessary because, I mean, Biden's not doing it. The administration's not doing it. So if you don't have support from the government, if you don't have support from where it should be coming from, do it yourself. I think it makes sense. I don't see why it would be a bad thing. But I'll tell you this, it shouldn't have to happen, but here we are. Here we are. Let me see. Ian Kenny says, Glenn Beck saving people in Afghanistan through the Nazarene Fund. Hey, shout out to Glenn Beck. Apu says, shout out to Doug Ripley, recovering from a concussion. Get well soon, please. Play Baby Cat Ballads video and dedicate it to Doug Ripley. Shout out, he says, Abel, you tweeted earlier this week that, you know, guys that did hard time but learned to trade and now make 6 figures. You got common sense and street smarts. We love you. Yeah, so the reason why I said that is because people talking about, you know, minimum wage needs to be higher and is living wage crap. I know guys that have done hard time. I'm talking about, I know one dude that did like 15 years in the penitentiary. Between 10 to 15. It might not have been the full 15. I think he did 10. Another guy did 6 in the penitentiary, and they came home and they got money legitimately. The one guy that did like 10 or 15 in the joint, he came home and became a plumber and started his own business, making 6 figures. Another guy became a merchant marine, selling all over the world, and then he does other things that add up to 6. So this is America. This ain't no third world country. This is America. You could do whatever you want. You have illegal aliens coming over here, can't speak a lick of English, but are getting big money, buku dinero. I'm seeing them riding all types of crazy cars, and there's no narco stuff going on. It's just straight working, construction, cutting grass, you name it. They're making it happen. So when I see able-bodied Americans, 35, 40 years old, trying to go to McDonald's and flip burgers and then crying that they don't get enough money, it's like, if you are 35 years old trying to flip burgers for minimum wage and you trying to cry about wanting more money, that's your fault. You made some decisions in life that weren't the right ones. You made some mistakes in life and you're trying to get back on track. That's what's going on. If you have no criminal record, you're not on drugs or nothing like that, what's the excuse? I don't really get it. But even guys that have a criminal record, guys that have been to the pen, I ain't talking about like you got arrested. I'm talking about guys that got sent up in the federales and come home and still make money. But the guy that has been at the crib with his mommy and daddy for 40 years doing nothing, it's just that kind of disgusts me, quite frankly. But I digress. I'm getting triggered as the person said that would be kind of dangerous for me to say. That's kind of a dangerous word, right? Triggered, but I digress. Apple says, ABL Cali fans, please vote out Newsom, vote Elder. That's right. September the 14th. Absolutely. Ian Kinney says, ABL, you say normies more than anyone I know. Darkest white supremacists I've ever seen. Exactly. That's my word, and it's just what I do. Thank you to James, who says FDA gets 45% of their funding from Big Pharma. The FDA is corrupt, sadly. No surprise at all, because didn't I show you guys on the previous show how the former FDA commissioner or somebody in the FDA, high ranking, might have been commissioner, is now on the Pfizer board of directors. And that happened in 2019. Convenient timing, right? And Pfizer gets their shot approved first, sort of, by the FDA. Is there a coincidence? You don't think the guy that's on the board of directors used to be at the FDA, didn't call his colleagues like, hey, we got this shot out here. Hey, man, do me a solid. Get us approved first. We want to be the first ones out there. We trying to get money. Hey, I'll see you at the dinner on, next Tuesday. I'll bring some money for you. I'll bring a little gift for you. That's how these things operate. So when when I saw that about Scott Gottlieb being I was not surprised at all. Matter of fact, let's put up an article right quick. Just so you know, I'm not making it up. And here it is. This is right on the screen. This is on CNBC. And let's turn that off. So, former FDA commissioner Scott Gottlieb joins Pfizer board of directors. It's right there. That's him, Scott Gottlieb. This is in 2019. The article is late June 2019. So the timing is impeccable because, quite frankly, the virus started in late 2019. From what I know. And here we are. And let's get to some other ones here. All right. And let me get back on track. Let's see. Okay. El Boogie says batteries not included when Joe short-circuited during questioning. I spent 7 years between Iraq and Afghanistan, Taliban, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, all the same. It makes sense. It does. Thank you for what you do, your service. I appreciate you, boss. Thank you to Caius Posthumous Ternius. I know I didn't pronounce that correctly, but your name is difficult to pronounce. Who says, but pledging to the LGBT flag is more important. Exactly. Ian Kinney says Joe Biden appears to have fallen asleep during meeting with Israeli Prime Minister yesterday. Yeah, we saw that video earlier. That was crazy. Laura Catherine says the Bible says 365 times not to be afraid. So many people are living in fear, faith over fear. Apu says, reminder to ABL callers, please turn off audio before a call. Correct. Thank you to Tom's Wild and Wonderful View. I can't say the rest of your name. Who says he may be too young to remember a movie called America, spelled with a K, Amerika, was about what would happen if socialism took over America. In the movie, it became illegal to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Well, I mean, we're getting very close to that particular time, aren't we? We're right there. Thank you to Caius, who says, well, she must have never read the Constitution. Ian Kenny says, that haircut is like the Rico Suave high and tight. Yeah, for sure. That Slav Atman Carey says, hashtag keep fighting. Laura Catherine says, ABL recommends your channel to people all the time. Let's keep building the ABL community. Right on. Ian Kenny says, Lieutenant Colonel, Stuart Scheller relieved of his duties after he posted a video demanding accountability from senior leaders for affairs in Afghanistan. I've seen that video. Yeah, I may do a video specifically about that. Noah Garcia says, 8/26/2021, rest in peace to our brave. And if anyone compares that to January 6th, I'm slapping someone into the future. Ariel says, how are you not completely black-pilled? Respect, mate. I mean, I got hope for the future. I mean, that's the only thing that drives me is hope for the future. Because if there's no hope for the future, then why even exist, you know? I think things can turn around. I've seen things go from good to bad, so why not the other way? Shout out to Labra Bulls who says Biden would score about 4 on a Glasgow coma scale. That's about equal to a plant. Okay, maybe he's a 3. Thank you to Kimball Wilson for the donation. Thank you to Kais who says he's reading a teleprompter with typed responses. Lauren S says happy Saturday. Louis from Spain says the funny thing that the man talking to Biden was probably thinking, thank God he's asleep. I won't have to listen to his stupid answers. Nate says if you vote Larry Elder, then you ain't black. That's law. I've already read that one. And did I get everybody? I think I did. I got a few more here. And then we get to the calls, I promise. Y'all just hang tight. Jennifer Casey says, America is unsafe right now. South of the border in Arizona is just wide open. See illegals every day coming into our neighborhood. Thank you to Andrew Rivera who says, hey, ABL, what if this Middle East stuff is a distraction? The same distraction we thought Donald Trump got rid of? It could be. Like I was saying, maybe the whole botched evacuation was to go have an excuse to bomb them some more. More than normal. Just maybe. Kaya says, where's John Durham? Good question. Alice says, just like Bill Gates is a spokesperson for some science. Kaya says, John Bell Edwards and the mayor are totally insane. Mark Stravino says, ABL, Ted Wheeler or Lori Lightfoot, who's the better mayor? Wow, that's a really hard question. I'm going to go ahead and say, I can't really call it between the two of them. Probably Lori Lightfoot. But just to be clear, they both trash. But at least the downtown of Chicago is not that bad. And the crime in Chicago's always been terrible. It didn't rise as much as Portland. Portland had an 800% increase in homicide from last year to this year at a certain point. 800%. Chicago, it's wild, wild west. You got to put on a bulletproof vest, Kevlar helmet. It's like going to Afghanistan in some parts of Chicago. But at least the rise in crime was not as sharp as Portland. So I give her the edge over him because of that reason. But they're both trash. That's like trying to say what tastes better. 2-week-old rotted meat or a month-old rotten meat. It's still rotten meat. Evil Black Cat says, we are crippled by the guilt trips and the koof. The Taliban took over an entire country in a few weeks. Someone remind them there's a pandemic going on. It's almost like they don't bow to weakness. Correct. FA Ranger Xbox says, maybe you have to see the video of the Marine Lieutenant Colonel that just left the command of the unit affected. I will watch that. I do have that bookmark. I'm going to watch it. Thank you to Centauri who says, go vegan. No, thank you. Been there, done that. Got the gold star. Not going back. Thanks to Elizabeth who says, ABL, you are the truth. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you to Sam for your donation. Thank you to Ian who says, I did 2 years in the Wisconsin DOC, got out, learned flooring, and now I'm an independent contractor making $70,000 per year. Anyone can do it. Perseverance is key, though. Exactly. So, yeah, you did 2 years in the joint, came out, doing your thing. That's how you do it. Thank you to Per Kayla, who says, can't we just send Biden over to Afghanistan to be with his Taliban friends? The anti-view says, ABO, do you know your phone doesn't ring when we call? Well, it's not right now because the phone line is are not on. I got to turn my calls on. That's a great segue, the anti-view. The number to call is 434-658-1220. I'm going to turn on Skype right now to accept the calls. If it doesn't work, it's not my fault. Please blame the white man because, hey, I didn't do it. I didn't build Skype, nor did I build the problems in it. Let's go ahead and get into it. 434-658-1220. And let's make sure everything is good to go. All right, 717 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, it's Moses. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm well. About yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Still trying to wrap my head around how is Biden the most popular president of our time? Really? After him being a cowering in fear, after being asked a real question? Oh my gosh, I almost threw my phone against the wall after I saw that.
Yeah, that was really, really crazy.
Yeah. And something I want to say is I'm just going to make a statement real quick. Everybody wants to say Orange Man bad, all that other crap. This is something I'm going to tell you, everybody. Trump was a businessman, and I think I'm going to piggyback what you said about Trump being a leader. He was also a businessman. He was the type of guy that would put people first, obviously, and also he treated America like a business. We were an exporter. Our economy was booming, all that good stuff. And then suddenly they want to say he's a racist, but yet our economy is booming. Everybody was working. Everybody was happy. And then when Biden gets into office, it turns for the worse. It's like, why did people even support this guy? I remember people passing by my neighborhood honking the horn saying, vote for Biden, vote for Biden. And I rolled down my window and saying, Biden sucks. But honest to God, I'm still trying to wrap my head around how is he the president? How is he the figurehead, like you say, of the United States right now? I'm still trying to wrap my head around that.
It's crazy to think that he is actually in the office right now, but it's not surprising because we know how desperate they wanted him to be in there, or how they wanted Trump to not be there. So when I think about that, it's not as surprising as if it was just him running against a regular person.
Yeah, it's not surprising. It's just not surprising at all. So I do want to just ask a question. I'm just going to hang up just because I know you're going to have a lot of callers. I don't have Twitter. I don't have Facebook. I'm aware of some social media, thank God. And I'll ask this on the chat too. Do you or any of you guys on the chat have any people that voted for Biden right now that has buyer's remorse for sure? And what do they say to you right now? So ABL, I'll just leave you with that question. I'm going to let you go. God bless everybody in the chat. God bless you. Keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
All right. Great call. Shout out to my man for the call. 416 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Or any of you. Hello?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, ABL. Hey, yeah. Oh, wow. Yes. I didn't think I was going to get through. I was watching the stream, so I'm behind. Let me just turn it off real quick. Thanks, ABL. Okay, well, listen, I won't stay on the phone too long. Just want to talk real quick about COVID. And, you kind of inspired me to call because you loved one of my comments that I wrote earlier this week about just kind of how the news and everything comes in and films the worst looking patients and whatnot.
Yeah.
Meanwhile in COVID news, and then they have the camera on like the sickest, the car accident patient, whatnot. And it's, the Normies put together like, oh, this is a COVID patient. But a couple things I want to say here real quick. And I want more people to get on, so I won't take up the time, but I've been in healthcare for 31 years. And I've worked through SARS, the swine flu, H1N1, Zika, the whole nine, and the whole formula for respiratory diseases, it's always kind of been the same. Just kind of wear a mask, try not to spit on people, and wow, I'm really nervous here, but
it's all good. Just me and
you. Right. I'm sorry, everybody. Just, I feel like we need more allies kind of like on the higher, like, as far as the higher ups in terms of healthcare, because, like if we hold the line, I'm talking surgeons, nurses, like even the, like the orderlies, the PSAs, as we call them, the PSPs, if we hold the line, you're facing half the hospital walking out, and they would have to make a decision as far as like, are we forcing everybody to get vaccinated? And that's kind of where I was leaning towards here. Right now at my hospital, they're kind of pushing towards testing the unvaxxed people, whereas if you're vaccinated, they're not testing you, which, as we all know, if you're vaccinated, you can still get it and spread it. So nothing's really changed for you. So this is kind of just another way for them to say, okay, look at all these cases with all these unvaccinated people. We're going to have to mandate it. And they just keep pushing it and pushing it. You know what I mean? So scary time, especially when we know that there's tons of variants. There'll always be variants. And if anybody's done even half a lick of research, they would see that these variants are becoming less potent, more transmissible, but less potent. That's a good thing. You know what I mean? Like all these surgeons, epidemiologists, all these virologists, they can't all be wrong. And then the minute they say something or something that kind of makes even half sense, not to tell you what to do, but just to give you some options to make you think, they get censored, they get shut down. And I think I keep hearing this narrative, black people, we're scared because of Tuskegee and all this and that. It's just because we have access to information. We're intelligent human beings, and, we're able to make, rational decisions for ourselves, especially in a case like this where, there's information out there that's being suppressed, and the information that's being given to us is coming from, we can go down that whole route as far as big tech. But I'll wrap up here with this, ABL. Once again, I'm sorry if I'm rambling. I'm super nervous here. They're probably roasting me in the chat. But I want to leave you guys with just a couple quick things here. Number one, why not let us try the therapeutics? Number two, I want to put something out there for people. This whole thing about N95 masks. We get fit tested for N95s, okay? And there's this chemical that they kind of put in a kind of beekeeper helmet, and they spray it in, and you're like, yeah, I can taste it. And they change it to another mask. And so people think that N95s, if you buy an N95 and you've got this, this silver bullet, against it, but N95s have to be fit tested for you. And any rando N95 doesn't mean that you've suddenly got, more protection than anybody else. So, I'm going to wrap up. All these fools out here driving in cars by themselves with masks on, jogging and riding their bikes. It just scares me, because where we are now, I just feel that big tech has so much control over the information to all the normies and whatnot, that I just feel like we're really far, far away from, anybody. I mean, we're not going to be normal, but we're just really, really far from, where we, will, where normal people will, I guess, feel comfortable. So anyway, sorry guys. I just wanted to say thank you, ABL. I listen to you guys all the time.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Thank you, ABL. Take care.
That's a great call, and it's good to hear from people that are actually out there, medical professionals. You're hearing from people like Anthony Fauci, and they tell you just whatever. The thing is, to talk about, they give you information that's different from day to day, and then they say, just follow the science, trust the science. And it's like, okay, if Anthony Fauci is the guy supposed to deliver the science, and I got to trust him, but he's different every day, then what do I trust? Why believe him if he keeps changing his mind, keep changing what he says? 609 in the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, Mr. ABL.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Oh my God, this is amazing, man. I'm super surprised. I was calling. Wow, man. I wanted to let you know I'm 15 years old. My name is Ja, and I needed some advice.
All righty.
All right. So look, have you lost any family members, because of your political beliefs?
Yeah, sort of, but it's not really a big deal to me. Some people, I had problems with when I first came out as conservative, basically, and after a while, they kind of got over it, and it's all good now. But some people haven't. Mm-hmm. But the truth is, the reality is that a lot of these people that haven't, I was not that close with anyway, so it's not a big deal. Even if I was close with them, maybe we weren't that close as what I thought, because it shouldn't be something so simple like my political beliefs that breaks away a family relationship. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah, because a lot of my family members, they were very far left, and they just totally didn't like me anymore. Coon, Uncle Tom, all those words, they called me everything. And I don't even talk politics or family anymore. But when I first got introduced to conservatism, I did. But I learned that I shouldn't, because it's just going to be an argument, and I'm just going to end up bad. But they still talk about it, and it just kind of gets hard not to engage, but I still don't. But I just really needed advice on how to deal with it, because it showed me like their true colors and how much they really didn't maybe have a good relationship with me.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. Like, people, if they want to attack you over political stuff and it's in your family, I mean, what kind of family member is that? It's just somebody that happens to be related to you, but just because you're related does not mean you have to be friends or hang out or anything like that. It's just, okay, we're related and that's it. You my cousin or whatever, okay, that's fine, but so what? What does that really mean? I have people that I know that I've met within the past few years that are closer to me than my family members I've been knowing my whole life. So, and that's it's nothing against anybody. It's just reality of life, and it's okay. It's fine. So now, as far as dealing with family members, like if you want to go to a family reunion or you got brothers, sisters, parents, or whatever, I don't talk about politics. I don't take debate, because I've said this before. One of my cousins tried to bait me into talking about politics. We had this virtual family reunion where everybody's just kind of like on Zoom, just talking to each other, catching up or whatever. And then my cousin, a notorious cousin, brings up politics, brings up Trump, and everybody gets quiet. And I know everybody wants me to respond because everybody knows what I do. But I didn't say a word. I didn't say nothing. I like I didn't hear him. I'm not going to engage with you on this. I'm not going to do it. I've made that rule. Speaking to family members, normies like that, I don't discuss politics. I just leave it alone. Let's talk about other things. How your kids doing? How's everybody? How's grandma? Leave it at that.
Yes. Well, thank you very much for your advice, Mr. ABL. I know you have a lot more callers left. I want to say thank you again, because it's my first time calling. I'm a big fan, and it was nice talking to you, sir.
Well, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
All right. Have a nice night.
All right, yeah. Shout out to my man. Yeah, just because you're related to somebody does not mean anything. It don't mean a thing. I don't care. You could be my sister, my brother. I don't care. So what? But I'm not even the kind of person that would cut people off just for no reason. I'm a very loyal person, but if it's not reciprocated, then that's fine. It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's all right. And I know some people that did some crazy things. Like, I forgive you as well. A friend of mine, won't say his name, real close friends for a long time, and I came out conservative. He is attacking me and stuff on the internet, real crazy. And then he came and was like, "Hey man, I apologize for all that." It's like, man, it's all good. Don't worry about it. It's no worries. It's fine. Now, as far as trust and things like that, it's a different story. But I'm not going to harbor hate towards anybody. But if you don't want to deal with me, it's totally fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's all right. But I digress. The point is, don't feel bad that you may lose some family and friends, and don't let that make you be conservative in the closet. You may lose people, but you may also gain people. It's not a zero-sum game. Have that abundance mentality, but I won't go down that road, so I digress. Let's get to the next one here. Already on the line, we're speaking to 857. Hello, 857.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Jesus. Yeah. Oh, wow. I am on the show.
You're live. And turn it down in the background for me, please. You got the stream going on. Turn it down for me, please.
Yeah, sorry. Wow. So, where do I begin? I guess I would like to say my name first of all. My name is Wise George. It's a weird name, I know. But I think I'd like to say my views on Afghanistan and where I believe we should be on here. You know what I'm saying?
Go for it.
So, Yeah, I believe that the problem with Afghanistan is that, you know, with Joe Biden and everything that's been going on in the years, I mean, everybody was thinking, hey, we should all go leave Afghanistan, and I agree. But the problem with it is that Joe Biden did it. He did it rushing. He did it in a very like a crazy pattern. You know, I mean, you've seen the videos, you've seen the horror stories, the Afghanistan people clinging onto the planes and all that. Excuse me for the noise in the background. You know, I'm sorry, I'm sounding a little shaky because, you know, this is my first time, you know, meeting you. I've been a long time fan of your content, you know, and the thing I have with the Biden administration on Afghanistan is that it's like they don't know what's going on. They're like confused in a way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're just
like
they're not really.
Yeah,
they're not really there. They're just kind of just doing stuff.
Like it's all a big mess. He said that we would get the troops out by August 31st. Why? But seeing all this stuff that's going on now, why are we prolonging it? Look at it. There have been 13 U.S. troops. I have the Boston Globe newspaper next to me. 13 U.S. troops dead because of the inactions of Biden. And instead of Biden taking responsibility for these things, he is then saying, "Oh, I take responsibility," but then it's like, "Oh, but Trump." And you know, in this case where there's 13 people, you have blood on your hands. You know, it's a terrible, you know, situation. Yeah, that the Biden administration is going through. You know, if you're going to leave Afghanistan, and by the way, the one thing I don't get about you know, the liberal mentality revolving, you know, Biden is that I've seen people, they say, and you know, they hate Trump, because he was rude or racist, he started all the riots, this and that, or he prompted more killings of blacks. Here's my thing, and I'm black myself, but here's my thing. And I'm going to wrap up real quick because I know you got other people on the line, but Biden, look at what Joe Biden was. Joe Biden was the vice president of Obama during the whole Libya thing. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, with liberals in a whole, especially with like what happened on the Jimmy Fallon show when he said that for the first time in human history that whites would be less of the population, and whites were cheering for the liberals on there were like cheering for, you know, their ethnicity and race to be down. It's terrible. It's awful. No other race would do it. If another race was there would be a whole different controversy. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Yeah. It's not supposed to be that way. It's not. There's nothing wrong with being white. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with whiteness, blackness. There's nothing wrong with it. Be proud of who you are. Not white. Being white is not a bad thing. You have white people. They have a rich history, just like Africans. There's no need for more white guilt or white oppression or this and that. I mean, come on. Which other race in the world is imperfect? You know what I'm saying? There's so many. Every race has done some messed up thing in the past. So I mean, yeah. So, you know, thank you for getting me on the line. I love your shtick and everything you do. Yeah. Bye.
Yeah, thank you for the call.
You.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Mm-hmm.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Good call. And thank you all for calling. You guys are the best, and you already know it. We'll get to a few more here. Let's go. 602, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, it's Steven from Arizona again. This is the third time I'm calling. I got one video game question for you. And
hold on. We got noise in the background, boss.
All right, gotcha. All right, so the first one is, have you seen that they're doing a Martin Luther King march on Fortnite?
Oh, yeah, I saw that. And I saw there was a clip. I'm gonna play it, but there was a clip of, I guess they were on the steps of the Capitol in Fortnite, like in the video game, and they had like this kind of, I guess I would describe it as a flat screen TV set up right there on the steps, and then there was a guy recording the gameplay, and he did one of the little dances in front of the speech. I was like, okay, this is crazy.
Yeah, stop. Yeah, because I watched it myself. And I thought one of the best parts was when, well, for kids especially, if they watch it, which they should, but because he says at one point that their dream is deeply rooted in the American dream. And I was like, that's a good point, because a lot of times when people are talking about, our country, they think about all the bad things we've done. But then again, I think of Dinesh when he said some Americans did something and other ones stopped them, And if you look at who they were and who they were tied to, a lot of things become more clear. Some of it becomes a little muddy, but so what do you think about that? Like all the like when people say, "Oh, the big switch," because that's.
So what's your question specifically?
Like, what do you think about when people say there's a big switch and stuff like that? And then when you look at Martin Luther King being a Republican, like, why do you think people believe that?
You mean the party switch? Like, there was no party switch. The only thing that changed is that people changed. People became different. Like when they introduced the welfare state, then that caused a lot of people to vote Democrat because they wanted money. They wanted their free, quote unquote, free money, although it was not free. It was very costly in a variety of ways. But that was a switch right there, was people that were kind of on the fence and kind of voted both ways to vote one way all the time because of the free money. So there was no party switch. They've always been the same. I think only one person during the so-called big switch went from Democrat to Republican, and that was Strom Thurmond. One person, not this whole big thing.
Right. Yeah. And then I've had like older people kind of debate me on that. And I'm like, well, I say what Dinesh said a lot when he's like, a lot of things became less racist, as, the South became more Republican. So it's kind of the opposite, And then the last thing is, do you think that if we had term limits for the Senate, do you think they would follow up on it, or that's never going to happen?
It could happen. I think that I think that could be a good start to getting some of this stuff to kind of getting rid of some of this swamp stuff that's going on. But the problem is deeper than that. The problem is deeper than term limits. The problem is the size of the government and the power that they have. Because at a certain point, it's like, okay, you could be in there for a finite amount of time, but if you're able to kind of be appointed by big money and influence and all this and that, and the mainstream media, social media, if you're able to be appointed by that and the vote becomes less meaningful, then that's the problem. And then it can wield so much power. People will do a lot of different things. They'll spend endless amounts of money to get in office. So that right there, I think that's probably the bigger problem, is the size and scope of the government, not so much the term limits.
I was going to say, do you remember the guy's name of the video you made? And he made his own school and he debated some other guy with a TV show.
What video was this?
He's like, one guy saying that the government, voting is important because the government helps blacks, and then the black guy that owns the school is saying he did everything on his own. He bought a school bus, like adopted kids, and sent them to school.
I don't know if I've seen that. I don't remember that video.
Okay, it's your video. I'll try to remember the guy's name.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so if more people did stuff like that, and we took power back from the government, then I could see us doing stuff, taking education back and teaching, conservatism and showing stuff that's happening now, and probably in the 60s, I would say, or whenever serious stuff was going on, because they would show liars and how lies are twisted, and especially with the media, because it's way crazier now because they cut out whole things, and it's crazy how they're quoting you in news clips and stuff.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and then the last thing is my family's always laughing at me because I call Jen Saki Patsky, because the first time I read her name, it was with a P, and I was like, oh, I didn't see the S. But all right, that's all I got.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I think the only guy I know that has a school, King Randall. I don't know about the school bus part, but yeah, King Randall, young guy. I think is what, like 21, 22 years old, already a veteran. It's like he's young, but at the same time old. No, there's different ways to approach the situation that we got going on in America, rather than just relying upon the government for everything. You know, that's how that goes. Let's go to the next call here. Let's go 724. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, this is Zach.
All righty, man. What's going on?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Everything's all right.
Hey, ABL, have you talked about Ashley Babbitt, the cop that shot her? He came out and said he was a hero and that he saved countless lives. You hear about that?
I didn't talk about it, but I have seen the video.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that's coming from. I mean, the lady was unarmed, and they don't apply the same narrative when it's the roles are reversed. If it's a white cop and say there's a black man resisting arrest or even armed with a knife, let's say, like that dude last year, they completely vilify the officer. This guy's just getting, a complete pass on this.
Yeah, I mean,
the hero. I don't understand this at all, man.
I mean, the thing is, all that goes out the window. All this whole unarmed, all that goes out the window when the person who is shot or injured or whatever or killed happens to be a political opponent or a perceived political opponent. That's all that really matters. That's how they operate. When it's a black man, they don't even really care what's going on. The black man could have been smoking crack actively, could have been beating somebody in the head, or even the black woman with the whole the thing. What was that in Ohio? I forget the lady's name, the young girl's name, trying to stab the lady in the head with a knife,
right?
And talking about, she could have just tased her. It's like at a certain point, police are trained to do what they got to do. And that should just be what it is. But that doesn't really apply all the time. It only applies in certain circumstances that they want it to apply.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, and I see they're going back to January 6th again, trying to get the attention off Afghanistan. They got to do something, because I'm telling you what, man, I heard a caller earlier talking about black pill. What is that? The negativity?
Where you just
right?
Kind of like hopeless, like doom and gloom. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I think conservatives are going to roll them in the midterms. And I just saw yesterday that Herschel Walker is running for Senate in Georgia.
Yes,
Did
indeed.
you hear about that yet?
Yeah, I've not spoken about it, but I'm glad that he is. He's running against Raphael Warnock. I think he has a decent chance, especially for Senate. Now, if you're talking about like trying to be the mayor of Atlanta, obviously that wouldn't work. But trying to run for the Senate of Georgia, I think that's a possibility to defeat Raphael Warnock. He just needs a lot of support, a lot of money, because there's going to be a lot of money flowing in. It'd be an interesting race. You got two black males, so it can't be seen as a racial thing, black versus white or whatever.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of principles, one versus the other, and then we'll see who actually be able to win in that situation.
Well, that's huge, because if things hold and he wins that, he can get the Senate back. And like you said, I think a lot of conservatives that might have voted for the left last time, they're not going to make the same mistake again. You had a caller talking about how did Biden get in. I think big tech and big media fool people. People weren't paying attention. They got caught off guard. But now that they're seeing the result of that, I don't think they're going to make the same mistake. So you got your typical conservative voters, but then you have a constituency of black voters that are going to look at Herschel Walker and say, hey, man, he seems like a pretty mellow dude. He's not, he's not a crazy guy. He's not going off. I know there's the left is going after Larry Elder in California. Herschel Walker seems like a really cool guy, football star,
Definitely.
Popularity. He's from Georgia. I mean, that could be huge, man. I'm hoping he pulls it off.
Likewise. Yeah, that'd be great to see.
Yeah. And Elder, and the last thing I want to say is Larry Elder. It's close from what I'm hearing. It's damn near a 50-50 split right now. And I'm just worried about, we've had some voter integrity issues, obviously, in this last election. I mean, what do you think, man? Can he pull this off?
I think he can, but it's going to be close. It's going to be hard because, I mean, let's not forget, we are in California. This is not Georgia, Florida, Texas. This is California. So it's going to be difficult for anybody to try and unseat a Democrat person. It's going to be very hard. But I think the hatred or the disdain for Gavin Newsom is bipartisan. Because, to get the recall, it wasn't just Republicans that said, okay, get him out. It was a lot of Democrats, too, that didn't like what he was doing. So a lot of Democrats may not vote for Larry Elder, but they may vote to get Gavin out of office. And that's all it really takes. Because if he's out of office, if they vote yes on the recall, all Larry Elder has to do is get the majority of the votes out of all those who are running. So he can get 30% of the vote and win. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, and if he pulls that off, that could be a big sign of what's to come here, coming up in the midterm. So here's hoping, right?
That's right, man.
All right, man. Well, hey, thanks for taking my call. You have a good night.
All right, same to you. Thank you for the call.
Yeah.
All right, shout out to the caller. Appreciate him. And thank you all for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. If you have not liked the video yet, go ahead and do that for me right now. I'd appreciate you if you did. 951, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, wow, that was quick. Good to talk to you, Mr. Logan.
Oh, likewise.
My name's Luke. I'm also from California. Did you say you were in California? I thought I just heard that.
No. Like we're talking about Larry Elder and his chances of winning.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I was just wondering if you had seen. I just saw a video been going around of a bunch of farmers talking about they had to destroy their crops. They were ordered, I believe, by the USDA to destroy their crops, and otherwise they would have them destroyed for them, and they were paid off or something. Have you seen that? I was wondering about your thoughts on that.
I've not seen that.
Oh, man, yeah. It kind of reminds me of the whole, with the virus thing, they destroyed a bunch of, dairy and I think some meat producing plants also had to destroy their meat or something. I don't know if you remember that. They were pouring milk down drains and stuff at dairy farms.
Now, all I saw was there was a guy that was dumping out oil like on the ground, and this was right when the gas prices were peaking, talking about we had to control the supply. Like, I've seen that kind of stuff, but I've not seen some of the food being destroyed. But I don't doubt it because it's a lot of things like that that happen all over the country. We're thinking that there's a shortage or prices are going up, but a lot of it is manipulated on purpose.
Yeah, it's just that I feel the same way. I think it's just a manufactured food crisis they're trying to put us in.
Yeah.
For sure, man. Well, I'll keep it short. I was just wondering about that. I love the show. Yeah, I should have known. I remember you're from, not from California, but all right, man.
All right.
Take care.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
Bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Yeah. Okay. Just so he knows, born in West Virginia, both sides of my family from West Virginia, mom, dad, everybody from West Virginia, but I was born there, grew up in Virginia Beach area, 757, and now I live in Tennessee. Beautiful state. Love it. Let's get to a few more here. You guys on the drill. The number to call, 434-658-1220. All righty, let's go. 861, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Okay. Hello, Anthony?
Yes.
Hello. Yeah, how you doing? It's Paul from Guangzhou, man. How you doing?
Everything's right, man. About yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, real quick for you. I know that you're not a constitutional lawyer, but you might have something to say. So it's clear that Biden needs to go. He needs to resign. We need to get him out of there. And excuse me, I was doing a little bit of research on the Constitution. Not a lot, but a little bit. When the founding fathers set everything up, they set it up in mind where if we don't like our leaders, we can get rid of them. Basically, we can get them out of there. And it looks like the only way for Biden to go is if we have to wait for our politicians, our senators and House reps to do the work. And I was wondering if there was like a clause or a provision or somewhere in the Constitution that when the founding fathers set it up, we don't have to wait for them to do it. Like the public, we can call for his resignation. We can get him out of there. But as the way things stand, it doesn't look like the public has the power to do that. We have to wait for our representatives in Congress to do it. Do you know anything about? Do you know any constitutional articles or provisions where we can bypass Congress and call for his resignation ourselves?
I don't know. I have no idea. That's a good question, but I just don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I did a little bit of research. I couldn't find anything, but we got some Republicans that are talking about it and I guess trying to move in that direction. But it does. I know right now, to me, it doesn't seem likely that he's going to get removed from office. So, but yeah, I guess maybe that question is better suited for a constitutional lawyer.
Definitely.
One last thing, I'll let you go. So there's a lot of talk about China's new relationship with Afghanistan, and the public here they have kind of mixed feelings about it. I don't think anybody here is really that gung ho about it. I know they've had some problems in the past, particularly with Xinjiang, because Afghanistan borders China on Xinjiang.
Right.
And the people of Xinjiang historically have not been so friendly toward Beijing. And with the Xinjiang people and the Afghanistan people they have a lot of history. They're both Muslims, and there's been there are a lot of relationships on both sides of the border. So, and I guess I don't really have a question to ask about it. I was just kind of throwing out there that this new relationship that people are talking about in the news with China and Afghanistan, I don't think it's going to be as rosy as people are painting it.
And that's a good point about Xinjiang, also known as East Turkestan, and that's a good point about Afghanistan having the border in between Turkmenistan, I think, and Pakistan that is right up on China. That's a good point. That could be a problem. But I think what China may want to do is just try to keep Afghanistan under control as much as possible. Maybe they might do some of that, come in there with some money and try to just smooth things over, try to, kind of gain influence. Maybe they try to do that to try and also control Xinjiang. I don't really know. That could be what they try to do, but I don't think it's going to be some kind of thing where China is trying to empower them to attack others. I think it's more just about trying to preserve their own country, meaning China, and not really anywhere else. But I could be wrong. But I think that'll probably be what goes on.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. Yeah, shout out to the caller. Yeah, so Afghanistan is like right there. It's a weird border. It's like a little slither in between, I think, Turkmenistan and Pakistan. It's like right in between there, and it hits China. And that's kind of like, is that East Turkestan? There might be Tibet. It's like right there. That's like right kind of above where Tibet would be. If Tibet was a sovereign country, which is not anymore because of China, but that's a different story. I digress. Let's get to a few more calls here. All right, Victor, what's going on?
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
No problem.
So Rachel Nichols lost her job.
Yeah. Hey, gotta go, gotta go.
Yeah, well, OnlyFans reversed their course, so she could start doing that. I mean, I know that she's close to 50, but it looked like she still got a body, and people may prefer her age.
Hey, I don't know about that one. We'll see. That might not be a top seller.
All right. Anyway, you know, ABL, if you ever go woke, I wouldn't blame you. Seeing how Sean King and other people are making money, I wouldn't blame you at all.
Hey man, it's a whole big racket. People talking about, oh, you're conservative because you make a lot of money. I wish I could just have a whole real estate portfolio, millions of dollars, and fly all over the world. All I gotta do is be woke. It's a lot of money in being woke right now.
Yeah. In fact, you have you heard of the most recent socialist, the socialist supporter, Chank nephew?
Are you talking about Hassan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
$3 million home
in L.A., Hollywood. Must be nice, but at the same time, you got these shirts on that say "Eat the Rich."
Yeah, this goes to show you how people either really don't know what socialism, communism is, or they know it. They just act like they support it, but they truly don't. I actually talked to somebody before about socialism, communism, and he brought up the manifesto. That made me read the manifesto, and this person kept arguing that no, you're not going to get your property taken away. I'm like, look at this page right here. It said it's going to take away your property. You can't hide that. And also, the one I'm disappointed with are the Christians who support socialism. If you actually read the manifesto, it actually says that they want to take away the family unit because the wife is seen as property. That is one main thing about Christianity is the family structure. And you call yourself a Christian supporting this?
Right. Exactly. It's crazy. But people they don't look too deep. They see some of these little catchphrases and say, yeah, BLM. But then when you look into it, you see what's going on. But they don't care to do that.
No, not at all. Not at all. The last thing I want to talk about is the Afghanistan and Afghanistan and the death penalty. I was wondering, what's your view on the death penalty?
I think it's appropriate depending upon the circumstance. I mean, if you got these people that done kidnapped a bunch of kids and had them in the basement for years, I say go ahead and do it right now. Matter of fact, if you get caught red-handed and there's no shadow of a doubt that you did it, I say expedite. I say get a express shipping, 1 day shipping on that execution. Take you out back right now and handle it. For extreme cases like that, I say that's appropriate.
Yeah, I'm with you. And hearing the details about what happened with the Taliban and how they took over Afghanistan reaffirms my position about why the death penalty is still necessary. Of course, we don't need it most of the time because we evolved as a society where we can make people disappear without killing them. But there are instances where it is still necessary. What I've learned, how the person that led the takeover of Afghanistan came from Guantanamo Bay with that soldier swap during the Obama administration.
Right.
Yeah. And then recently with the new governor that they appointed in one of the provinces in Afghanistan is another Guantanamo Bay prisoner. All these people who talk about they want to take down Guantanamo Bay and want to take away the death penalty. You got these people who came from Guantanamo Bay. nothing about them change, and they're still a terror to society. To me, that's why I say that we still need death penalty, because there are some people that just don't want to change and still want to be a menace to society. We got to take them out somehow.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Anyway, that's it. And also, that first person who called, I'm going to speak for the progressive. He asked a question about voters' remorse about Joe Biden. Well, as a spokesperson of progressive, we do not have voter remorse, because as long as Trump is not in office.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it.
All right, bye.
All right, talk to my man Victor for the call. Let's get to a few more here. Let's go to. All right, 1 second here. (714) you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
My name is Eddie.
All right, man. What's going on?
What's going on?
Yeah, what's happening? What's on your mind?
Well, I'd like to see if I can talk about what's happening here in California with a couple of bills that would severely restrict our freedom and force vaccinations on all Californians.
All right, go for it.
Okay. Tell me when.
You're live right now, boss. Go ahead and go for it.
Oh, okay. Anthony, how you doing? Listen, I'm in California, and I want to make an announcement to all Californians. I don't know how many Californians know, but there's a couple of bills in the California Assembly. One is Assembly Bill 455. That bill is going to make it so that they will issue vaccine passports for every Californian. And if you're not vaccinated, without a vaccine passport, you will not be able to go into any stores. It's going to severely restrict your movement. There's also AB 1102, which is a bill that's going to mandate forced vaccinations on every Californian. Both of those bills will take away Californians' freedom of choice to decide for yourself whether you want to, whatever medical treatment you want. You won't have the choice. It's going to be forced vaccinations and also vaccine passports. So it's very important that all Californians go to their assemblyman webpage, contact them via email. You have to do it by this Monday. Get on there, look for your assemblyman, email them, call them, tell them to vote no on these two bills. They're trying to sneak them in, and they will severely restrict your freedoms. So I appreciate the opportunity to let me on and put out my message.
Thank you for the call. I appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
All righty. Let's get to some more here. Let's go 321 in the line. Who am I speaking to?
Dale.
All right, Dale. What's happening? Dale, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, what's going on?
What I wanted to talk about, one thing real quick. Everyone's saying that the midterm. Everybody's talking about the midterm. Think about what this guy has done in 7 months. What makes them think that they're going to reach the midterm?
What do you mean?
Well, look what he done in 7 months. This president, or I should say, vice president. What has he done? He's destroyed America, and he's done it a month at a time. And the midterms, I don't see him coming. I don't see nothing happening.
I don't understand what you mean. So, like, the midterms are going to happen. So what do you think won't happen that people are thinking will happen?
Well, there's so many things going on, and they're talking about, oh, the Democrats are losing now, the people are rising up, and I don't see that. I watch you. I listen to what you're saying a lot of times. I listen to all the guys that you associate with, Officer Tatum, you know, and I'm just so confused on how everybody's saying, oh, we're going to wipe them out at the midterms, when an example is California, neck and neck, still wanting to vote Newsom in. I mean,
okay,
we can't win.
So are you just going to be like, are you defeated?
Well, no, I don't feel defeated. I just feel like America's given up.
So I mean either we're going to be able to make something happen or we can't. If you think that we can't, then that means you're defeated, right?
Yes, and I feel that way because we've lost on every corner. We've lost. We have won nothing. We're constantly being defeated, and the Americans aren't doing anything to stop it.
But let me ask you this though: have you ever like played sports or anything where it's like, okay, you lose a game, you might lose for a while, and then you come back. It's like back and forth. You're not just always going to lose. I mean, you win some, you lose some. That's just the nature of human beings. It's like that. It's always been like that. So I don't think that it's over. I think that we're just in a bad situation, but it's not anything that can't be reversed or changed.
But I'm afraid that the Americans are going to forget. Look how fast they're trying to squash the Kabul thing with them taking over Afghanistan. Okay, now they're warning Americans to get out of Kabul airport. Why? Why? Are they going to blow it up? I mean, what are they going to do?
Well, because there's terror attacks that could be happening because of the Biden administration pulling out improperly.
Correct. And think about this. They're bringing them over here and they're saying they're vetting them. Do you believe that? Do you believe they're actually vetting them guys?
Well, I don't know, but I think we're kind of going off into a different topic. I think the main thing is like the midterms. Like, I think we need wait. I think the main thing is there's a lot of things happening right now that shouldn't be happening. I mean, aside from the Afghanistan thing, the biggest thing is the border. The Afghanistan thing is nothing compared to what's happening on the border. There's nobody being vetted that way. You know, at least from Afghanistan, we know where they're coming from. But the border, we have no idea where they're coming from all over the world. So we got a lot of things that are happening right now that shouldn't be happening. And I think that a lot of people may feel the same way that you feel, which is why there's a recall right now in California. It wasn't just Republicans that said recall them. It was Democrats too. So I think that there are people on all sides who are seeing what's going on, and all hope is not lost because a lot of us feel the same way that you and I feel.
Right. But see, what makes it hard for me, ABL, is that I'm disabled. So I really can't get out and about to fight and to argue and to, like, you're my voice. You know, I really don't have a voice other than maybe calling my governor, but I have DeSantis as a governor. So I think in that aspect, I'm doing pretty good because I got a decent governor. But I don't have a voice really, ABL, and it's really hard for me.
It's okay because you may not have to actually do that. Everyone has a role to play. I play my role, others play theirs. Just because you're not necessarily able to do what I do or what others may do does not mean much. You can do whatever you can. We do whatever we can, and we all work as one to try and fix things. Some may do more than others, but it's relevant because we all working toward one goal. But I got a few more calls on the lines. Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. I appreciate you, ABL. You're the man.
Thank you. Appreciate you. All right. Shout out to the caller. Let's get to a few more here. The number to call, 434-658-1220. Let's go ahead and get into it. And, all right, can we go? Let's go this one. Okay. 701, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello, ABL. This is the Anti-View. How are you today?
I'm well. About yourself?
I'm doing well. I have to start out by saying this. So prior to August, your phone used to ring or it would be busy when you called, and now it rings once and goes silent. So I don't know. I just wait to see if you answer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm wondering if you saw the study that was put out prior to the Pfizer approval. Mayo actually put out a study that said the current jab is only 42% effective against the Delta variant.
Yeah, and that was in July, so it probably would go down once they release the numbers for August, because at one point it was like 95%, according to what they say. Then it became 47, 42, whatever it was, 40-something percent. So I'm sure it'd be lower now.
Yep, in July it was 76%, and then August 8th it was only 42%. So it's like, how did you guys approve it? August 23rd then? If you have like a big entity like Mayo saying, hold on, guys. But, I mean, have you looked at the 6 degrees of the Pfizer vaccine? I mean, you remember the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, right?
Yeah.
It was like high school, I think, for us.
Right.
So you got that Scott Gottlieb or whatever. I'm really bad at pronunciation. You know, he used to be the commissioner of the FDA.
Yes.
And now he is on the board for Pfizer. Well, he wrote a really nice paper with Francis Collins back in 2019, the next phase of the human gene therapy oversight. Well, this is kind of important because Francis Collins, who is now the director of the NIH, used to lead the Human Genome Project. And you know who they're really good friends with?
Who?
Christine Grady. She's the head of the Department of Bioethics at the NIH. She also happens to be Anthony Fauci's wife.
That's right.
Yeah, well, bioethical stuff, that has to deal with like informed consent and proper procedures and do you need to know type information. Like, it's really fishy, really fishy. And the more that you dig into things, the more suspect it looks, you know?
Right on.
I hope that you have a great night.
Thank you for the call. I definitely appreciate you.
Yep. Bye.
Very good call. Like I said earlier about Scott Gottlieb, this guy was the FDA director, commissioner, whatever, in 2019. And then right after he stepped down as the FDA commissioner, he became one of the Pfizer board of directors. He became a member of the Pfizer board of directors. So is it a coincidence that Pfizer got their shot, quote unquote, approved first by the FDA? Is it a coincidence? He didn't call any of his colleagues like, hey, man, let's make it happen, man. You know, I was just over there. I know what the protocol procedure is. I mean, is it a coincidence? You go from quote unquote public to quote unquote private, and then the quote unquote private company gets approved by the quote unquote public entity. Is that a coincidence? Y'all tell me. I don't know. What do I know? All right, Tariq, what's going on?
Hey, man, what's going on, ABL?
Ain't too much.
Well, I just want to talk about, because, some of the, one of the caller called and asked you if there's like a law, to get Biden out of there. And, the problem with that is I think some conservatives are just worried about the wrong things. Biden ain't going nowhere. Okay, like the system wanted it in, some people say you cheated in, but regardless of that, he's not going anywhere. We saw how the system acts when they don't like somebody. You saw how they treated Trump. You saw how the FBI and all these other intelligence agencies came out with a fake Russian story. It was fake from start to finish. There was no evidence from start to finish. We saw how the media came down on him. You think if they wanted to get rid of Trump by some code or something, that wouldn't have happened? That would have been happened. So we got to understand Biden's not going anywhere. And even if Biden goes somewhere, it's going to be Kamala Harris. It's going to push the same thing. Even if she goes somewhere, is going to be some liberals. So we got to stop thinking about, well, we're going to buy this guy. He's not going nowhere. Like, and this is why conservatives lose, because we're not focused. We just need to focus on winning. That's it. Elections are coming up. You had another caller say don't got a voice. No, you do have a voice. Just vote. Just vote for the people locally and nationally who has your best interest. We need to be just talking about 2022. Like, drop all these conspiracies about Biden being bad. We know, but Biden ain't going nowhere. We need to focus on 2022. And, the thing about Afghanistan is this, man. This is why I remain anti-war, because I'm going to be honest with you. I think if Trump would have pulled out, the Taliban just would have taken over. And what this proves is just in 20 years of fighting that war, we achieved nothing. It was a waste of time. And even when Trump tried to pull it out, let's remember, when Trump tried to pull it out, look at the attacks that he received from both sides. He didn't just get attacked by the liberal media. Fox News was going against him. Lindsey Graham, other Republicans, Ben Shapiro was going against him. There is a military industrial pro-war machine in this country. And it's proved the fact that when Biden pulled out, CNN attacked Biden. Just think about that. A liberal news network is attacking Joe Biden. So, what I just don't want people to lose sight is this. Joe Biden is not anti-war. I'm pretty sure he may pull out of Afghanistan and start another war. But, this is one of the main reasons why Trump won. He was anti-war from the beginning. He had it right from the beginning. We had no business to be in the Middle East in the first place. He was right. He said we all should have taken a break. And, the same thing with Afghanistan. He was right. We are fighting all these years. No, we're not getting anything in return. Let's, come home. But yeah, man, that's pretty much all I want to say. Conservatives just need to focus on winning. Stop complaining about Joe Biden. He's not going anywhere. And if he gets impeached, so what? Kamala Harris is going to take over. And that's all I got to say, man.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate it.
All right, take care. Okay.
I agree. I mean, the thing is, I think Biden might not last that long, but does it matter really? Because they're going to put Kamala in there. That's what I'm saying. And what I was saying before is Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, whoever they want to have there, don't govern. It's not going to be different. They're given a sheet of paper or some sheets of paper every day. Okay, here's your itineraries. What you're going to do. You're going to talk to this particular leader of this country. You're going to go here and talk for about 45 minutes. Here's your speech. Read that. Okay, you're going to do a press conference. You're going to call on that person in order. Here's their name, their company, their picture, so you know who they are, so you can point to them. That's what it's going to be. Kamala Harris will be the same as Joe Biden, but just she, rather than just looking halfway asleep or dead, she'll be cackling. But it'll be the same people behind the scenes. That's the problem. The administration, the whole thing, not just the figurehead. You see, Trump was the issue for the left back when he was in office because he was not a figurehead. He was actually leading. You see, if they were able to get him impeached, there'd be a difference in the way that the country was operating. Because Pence would not be Trump. But in the case of Joe Biden, Kamala Harris would not do anything different than what Joe Biden did because they're not actually in control. If that makes any sense. But I digress. Let's get to the next call. 718, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Jeff.
All right, man. What's going on?
Nothing much. I just wanted to follow up with the last caller. I personally think this Afghanistan debacle isn't to reinvade. It's so we get used to taking in refugees, like AOC did this morning or the other day, 200,000. This is all a ploy for refugees.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And then also, I mean, the southern border, that's an elephant in the room that we're not really discussing. That's just...
You already know what they think of it.
Right, yeah.
They want to change the demographics. They want to get new Americans in.
Yeah.
The Americans don't vote the way they want.
That's a very good point. They want to get the new Americans, and then here comes the amnesty or some kind of thing like that, or they have to be citizens. They're here. They're in the shadows, all of this, and then once they start voting,
scared. The left is scared. that you got like Kwame Brown, all these people, Jason Whitlock, they're all people are starting to wake up. Hispanics are starting to wake up. So they need people with fresh minds, green minds, and put in this country so they know how to manipulate. People are waking up to that manipulation.
Yeah, I
also,
agree.
conservatives have to start thinking about tactics and optics. Like when we protest, we have to be non-violent civil disobedience, similar to the freedom riders. It's hard for the domestic terror label to stick if we're doing that.
Right.
I think conservatives miss the optics sometimes.
Yeah,
how the media will spin it, you know?
That's very
they don't
important.
think one step ahead.
Because we know how the media are. They're going to spin everything that we do. I mean, somebody could just say a cuss word or something like that. That'll get placed on loop over and over again. Like, see, look at this violent, crazy, racist Trump supporter. They play that over and over. When it comes to a BLM riot that goes out of control and people die and things get burned down, they'll do what CNN did, where they say fiery but mostly peaceful protest. That's how they talk about that.
Exactly, and we have to be aware of that. We have to be aware, and we have to think about, we're going to protest, because I've talked to people. The people are starting to get ready to protest, and we have to be smart about it. Really smart, because they will label us terrorists like so quick, it wouldn't even be funny. It kind of sounds like Trump right there, but
right on. I'm with you.
All right. Well, yeah, I just wanted to get that point across. I think a lot of people are thinking it's for war, and I think it's for refugees.
Makes sense to me.
I think that's the goal.
Right on, man. Well, thank you for the call. I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you, ABL. Have a good one.
Same to you. Makes a lot of sense. Get these refugees in here, get them in, and get you comfortable with having refugees. Makes a lot of sense. Let's get to some more calls here. Let's go 919. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Aaron Daniels, Raleigh, North Carolina.
All righty. What's going on?
Second time I've gotten through. I appreciate you taking my call. I'm going to give a little silver lining. It sounds like I hear a lot of depressed folks tonight. So, I think Mr. Elder might be able to pull something off over there. And that's going to, I think it's going to put a little light on the subject once that man's able to start talking freely and it's laying blasted on television and people can start hearing what he has to say. That's, I really hope that'll happen. It seems like it's going to. And, it's got to start there because I think a lot of people understand that's where a lot of problems start. As they say, what happens in the West spreads, and hopefully it'll go down. I think it will. And another thing I was curious about is in 3 years, I'm just curious what's going to be left. It seems pretty clear the man won't be budged, and nobody's going to do anything otherwise. And if that goes down for 3 years, I'm just curious what's going to be left. But again, if we have, voices like Elder, I think that will set people in the right direction. But I did want to end it. I know you got a short period here. I did want to say I feel like I know right when Trump left, you had several historians talking about what's it going to be like when he comes back. He's it's like the old westerns you watch when they get rid of the sheriff after you clean up the town. And he's like, oh, they'll be asking him to come back to town. And everyone's like, no, what are you crazy? It doesn't make any sense. And it's developing so quickly, it's hard to think it's not going to happen. I just hope he brings along somebody he can implant for another several years after that. So it's just not another glimpse in time like it was last time. But again, that's not just a Republican thing, it's a Trump thing. I just really do think there's silver lining that people need to see. And I think that's really bad right now. But again, I go back to Elder. It's an old school guy. He's been around for a long time. Most people say they don't know who he is. Quickly, they'll find out who he is because he knows exactly what he's talking about. There's a lot of people just sitting in the fold, ready to explode. and you can kind of see it happening. And I think, you know, not to bring the Lord into it or anything like that, but, you know, it seemed like it was going to happen so easily as if Trump got reelected. But I felt like right before it happened, it's impossible. It seems too easy. But It's like we're going through this trial here to see if we can all take this craziness and this insanity and everybody actually get their true minds together and make a true decision for themselves, because that's what it comes down to, is people making decisions for themselves. And I just want to say that much. I think there's a silver lining. I think people are starting to wake up a little bit. You know, people on the, and when I say the other people who have been thinking differently for a while, I think they're starting to wake up to things. And I appreciate you taking my call.
I thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Great call. Let's get to the next one here. The number to call is 434-658-1220. 860, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL. It's F&A Ranger Xbox. I want to keep it real short because I know you got more callers that got important stuff to say. I just want to say to the young brother that's got problems with his family members, if it's a female, have them watch Carol Swain's story on YouTube. She's a beautiful woman. She's articulate. She happens to be black. And her and Thomas Sowell talks about slavery. And as far as the white kid that called in, I'm proud to be white because I'm part of the first race to systemically end slavery. Now, it still goes on with young children and women through the sex trade, but we could end that too if our government got serious about it. And that's basically all I got to say, brother.
Thank you for the call, man. I appreciate you.
Hey, you take care, bro.
Same to you. Great call. And I've met Carol Swain on a couple occasions. Nice, super nice lady, real down to earth. And she's from Virginia, Bedford, Virginia, which is not far from Roanoke, where my dad and them grew up. So, and she also lived in Roanoke before too. So it's a small world. She's from Bedford, Virginia. Hodge twins from Martinsville. And I'm from Virginia. So shout out to all the Virginia conservatives out there, you know, doing big things. All right, let's get to the next one. 706, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, hey, BL. This is Jeremy out of Maryland.
All righty, what's going on? Hold on, I got noise in the background, boss.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I accidentally got it unplugged from my computer when I heard. I was like, oh my God, I actually got it picked up.
Oh, it's all good.
But I had some good news and everything about coming with the military to the jab and everything. There was one estimate that the numbers around 60% of it, around 800,000 of the 1.4 million, which I do feel like is going to really put some strain on them because you can't really court-martial over half the military because the more and more I'm looking at it and just how on base the religious petty officer who gives the religious exemptions said that his phone and email has been absolutely blowing up with people. So it made me feel a lot better that it's just like, wait, I was thinking that everyone has gotten it already. So you mean there's more people like me? Like a little bit of silver lining when it came to what's been going on over the last few months and everything.
Oh, definitely. So you're not by yourself. There's, you know, people out there that are just like you who are all on the same page. That's a really good thing for sure.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that really kind of made me go full no thank you was just how I'm seeing that Fauci's team wasn't vaccinated, the White House staff, no vax, and all these other kind of big guys, even the Pfizer CEO couldn't go to Israel because he wasn't vaxxed. So it just made me think like, whoa. All these big people who are very involved and they're saying no. What do you know? I just feel like what do you know? It's like you see like your flight attendant sweating, like you know something. What do you know? So that ever since I was just like, I'm just gonna wait. I'm just gonna chill. No thank you. Me no hablo español.
Right on, man.
But yeah, that's all I had to say and everything. It just a little bit of something to make people laugh and smile. Just like that's what's going on. The good news is there's a lot more people out there like you, like me, and I want to let everyone know that, hey, we're out here. We might not be saying a whole lot, but we exist, and there's a lot more of us than you think.
Absolutely, man.
All right. But thank you so much, and I hope you have a great night.
All right. Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
All right. Bye now.
All righty. Thank you to everybody that's been calling so far. You guys are the best. Let's get to some more here. And let's go 928 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, hi, ABL. How you doing tonight?
I'm well. About yourself?
Oh, I'm doing okay. Trying to hang in there with you with some of the callers, you know. So I have something that'll make you laugh. I saw today on an article, I think it was like Insider or I don't think it was Edition, but it was Insider. You're not going to believe this. Guess who thinks that she's going to run against Trump in the next election? I could, his deranged niece, Mary. So I know, right? I saw that today. I could not freaking believe it. She said, you know, she was publishing her book, all this stuff, but she was like really serious about running against him, and to she said bring out more of his you know, family business and stuff. And I don't know, what's your take on that?
That's crazy. And the reality is that the left are not going to want to vote for her because she's a Trump. That name is, to them, is toxic. They don't care if she loves or hates Trump. They feel like it might be a Trojan horse to get Trump back in office. So the people that she thinks would support her are not going to support her. And then what has she actually done with her life to make me think that she'd be a good president or anything else? I wouldn't vote her for dog catch, let alone the president.
Well, she's saying because she is a doctor of psychology. Well, I say she got her doctor's degree in a Cracker Jack box. You know what I mean? Using being a doctor, a psychologist, she's crazy, man. She's crazy.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I just wanted to give you a laugh tonight.
Well, I thank you for that laugh because that definitely did it.
Okay. All right. You have a good night, AVO, and everyone.
All right, now, same to you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. I see a mod trying to get on. Look, I saw you the first time you said, so don't, let's not spam, please. Let's not do that. You can't be spamming if you're a mod. That's not how it's supposed to go. Let's get to the next one. All right, let's go. 662, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, how's it going?
Everything's all right. About yourself?
Doing fine.
All right.
So I was wanting to talk about good old Sleepy Joe over there.
Oh, yeah, Sleepy Joe, you know, back at it again.
Yeah, like when he got asked that question on there and drops his head, I'm saying the only thing acceptable for dropping your head like that is if you're going to lead a prayer, and it would have been a great time to lead a prayer for the families of those who died and all that kind of stuff. But no, we can't lead a prayer on national television. That would be wrong.
Right, exactly. And nowadays that's like a totally forbidden thing to do.
Yeah, and we have people actually trying to go in and rescue people, and our government is trying to sabotage them. Like Glenn Beck, they actually were trying to sabotage them being able to fly people to a intermediate area so they could, you know, make more trips. So they sabotaged them from getting to be able to land in Macedonia.
Right.
Oh, and one more thing. I haven't seen you being able to take any Skype calls. It's a lot easier to get on with Skype than it is on the phone, but I haven't seen any Skype calls go through.
I had a couple, but people, I guess, they feel better by being able to call in. I get Skype calls occasionally, but I get more regular phone calls than anything else.
All right, well, I guess if it doesn't work, you can just blame me.
Yeah, blame the white man. There you go.
All right.
All right.
Have a nice night.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. So I got a little bit of breaking news right here for you guys. And shout out to the caller for the call. Thank him. They granted the RFK assassin parole. The guy who killed RFK is right here on the Hill. So assassin of Robert F. Kennedy granted parole. Right there. So assassin Robert F. Kennedy on Friday was granted parole by a 2-person panel. A major win for a 77-year-old man who received the support of two of the former senator's sons. Why would, this is the 16th time that Sirhan has attempted to receive parole after killing the New York senator and Democrat presidential hopeful in 1968. Kennedy had just finished giving a speech after an important primary win in California when he was fatally shot at the L.A. Ambassador Hotel. Well, hey. So how you guys feel about that? Like, why would they do that right now? Trying to scare Larry Elder is like, look, man, life ain't guaranteed. You understand what I'm talking about? I don't know what's going on with that. I feel like it's a scare tactic, because people are crazy. They'll do things like that just to try and mess with you. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that was a thing that they did to try and scare Larry Elder, or some kind of, would not be surprised. I would like, yep, that makes sense. That makes sense. They said he probably didn't do it. I mean, hey, who knows? Who knows nowadays what's going on? All right, hold on. Let's go. 828, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to? 828, hello. All right, don't get cold feet, 828. Let's go. 720, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello?
Yes, who am I speaking to?
Yeah, this is Scott from down in Shelby County, actually. I'm living down in Memphis area. How you doing today?
I'm well. About yourself?
I'm all right. Hey, I just wanted to ask you real quick. I talk to a lot of conservatives, and obviously, birds of a feather flock together, and especially amongst younger ones, there's a lot of concern about integrity at the polls. People are saying that, we go to the polls, it's hard to, go there with a lot of faith and integrity that your vote's going to be counted correctly, and things are going to happen on the up and up. What do you see happening with like midterms and stuff like that to support, integrity at the polls?
So I think certain states are passing their own laws to enforce integrity. Voter ID is a big thing, obviously. Just a lot of changes, because what happened in 2020 is that we kind of got caught flat-footed, not really prepared for what they were going to do as far as all the universal mail-in and stuff like that. So now a lot of those loose ends are tied up to ensure confidence. But the main thing is that the voter ID, you have to be able to request to get it, but it's a state-by-state thing. And I'm glad it's that way because we don't want the federales trying to, jump in and do whatever they want. Because if that was the case, then everything would be loose and wide open for them to try to take it.
Exactly. I'm actually a recent transplant. You can tell by my phone, I'm a recent transplant from Colorado. I moved to Tennessee. I had to get out of there. I was in the Denver area, just getting too crazy, too liberal out there for me. So I moved down here to Tennessee. I like it quite a bit more, but is that something that they're enforcing here in Tennessee? Voter ID and stuff. You have to show ID, because in Colorado, anybody can go vote. You can go one poll to the next poll to the next poll and vote as many times as you want all day long. They don't check anybody, and I think they're required not to check anybody in Colorado.
Oh yeah, we've already had voter ID down here because I've been here since 2017, and I voted in midterms. I voted for the president, and you got to show your ID. That's right away. So yeah, that's already in place before 2020. That was there.
Gotcha. Yeah, I moved down here in late October of 2020, and I couldn't vote, and Colorado wouldn't send me an absentee vote, and they wouldn't let me vote here in Shelby County because I didn't have a Shelby County ID yet.
Right.
So, and they said pretty much it was too late to register anyway. So,
right.
They were like, well, so I got kind of counted out, but it was irrelevant because we were going to vote Trump anyway. So, and Trump took Tennessee, so it wasn't going to be that much of an issue anyway. It would have been kind of a moot point. But and it wouldn't have made any difference if they sent me an absentee ballot out of Tennessee or out of Colorado anyway, because Trump didn't have a chance in Colorado, especially in Arapahoe County where I was living there. It was a no go. It was not going to happen. But yeah. So and I haven't heard anything. Do you have any opinions on like the ammo ban and stuff coming out of Russia? Do you think that's a backdoor way to restrict gun control or have gun control in this issue?
Oh, of course.
By restricting ammunition. I mean, you got nothing but a large paperweight if you have no ammunition, right?
That's correct. And there's already like a shortage on ammunition. It was already kind of hard, during the pandemic, at the height of it, especially, it was kind of hard to get ammunition and guns. So if they wanted to restrict some of these imports, that'd just make it that much more difficult or raise the price. Either one would make it hard for people to get ammunition. So it'd be hard to practice and all that. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a backdoor way.
I saw a lot of different gun YouTubers and stuff like that, and they make a valid point too. That a lot of the Russian steel case ammo and stuff of that nature was all it was priced at a lower price point. Being you couldn't reload it, and it had different materials that went into producing it, and so it was sold at a lower price point. So it made it affordable to certain people that can't afford top of the line ammo and this and that, so at least they could arm themselves. And I think it's unjust and unfair to that school of people also that they rely on that type of ammunition just to defend themselves, and they ain't gonna have that ammo available to them anymore.
Right, exactly. It's a problem.
So okay, well that's all I want to say. I really appreciate your time. I appreciate your show. I listen to your live casts all the time. And I watch all your content as they come out, and I like your views, and I think you're going places, man.
All right, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Yep, keep it going. We'll call back later.
All right, great call. Shout out to the caller. Fantastic call. Let's go. 828, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL. I'm Debbie from North Carolina. Thank you for taking my call.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, a couple of things. One, you've already touched on. I was going to ask you what you thought about Sirhan being released, but you already talked about that. I was going to ask you what you thought about that ridiculous statement that Kamala made about buying Christmas presents in August.
I didn't hear what she said. What was the statement?
I think she was in Vietnam when she said that, and she said we should buy our Christmas presents now. I thought that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
So I guess the context is buy them now because you're gonna be locked down later.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. And I want to say to the caller that said he did not have a voice, I don't know where he was from, but you have a voice because you were talking on ABL's program. So you've got a voice. Just keep talking. There's a purpose for us living in this time. So we can't be defeated. And there are more of us than we think there are. One time I learned a little acronym. It's FEAR, false evidence appearing real. And I don't know if you've heard that before, but that really helped me a lot.
I've not. I don't think I have.
You've not heard that?
I don't think so. Can you repeat it for me one more time?
It's FEAR, false evidence appearing real.
Okay. I've not heard it, but that's a good one.
It is a good one. One more thing. I put it in your chat, but I don't know if you saw it. I have the virus, and I've been sick for 3 days ever since Thursday morning. That's why my voice is so scratchy. No vaccine for me, and my family's not real happy about that. But it feels like a light case of the flu. It's what it feels like.
So how do you feel right now as I'm talking to you?
I've got a headache, and my temperature is going between 100 and 101 with Tylenol. And I've got a few body aches and a little bit of a cough, not a big deal, a little scratchy throat. I'm scheduled to get monoclonal antibody infusion on Tuesday because of my health situation and my age. So have you heard of that, monoclonal antibody infusion?
I have heard that, yes.
Do you think it's a good thing?
I have heard it's good. I think that they gave that to Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm scheduled to get it Tuesday, and I understand to get it, in order to qualify, you have to have a positive test, which I do. You have to have some underlying health issues, which I do, and it can't be too many days out from when you were exposed, maybe like 10.
Right.
And the doctor told me it works really well to keep people from getting real sick. But I have to fight myself to not give in to the fear, because it does feel like the flu. It so far, it's been, like I said, since Thursday morning. But I've got a disabled son that I'm responsible for. He's 48 years old. He has a traumatic brain injury from an accident, and I'm responsible for him. And I decided that he and I would not get the vaccine. So I have to fight the fear of Anthony. Do you understand?
I understand. I think you'd be just fine because you're not laid up in the hospital somewhere. You are able to talk to me, and you're coherent, and you're able to get the monoclonal, and you're able to get the same thing that Greg Abbott got, and Greg Abbott is fine. So I think you'd be just fine.
Thank you. And I'm also taking zinc. I'm taking vitamin D.
Very good.
Using silver. I'm gargling with Listerine. I'm doing a whole lot of stuff.
Very good.
So, ABL, thank you. And if your readers would pray for me, I would appreciate it.
We most certainly will. Thank you for your call, and get well soon.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
All right. Yeah, it should be just fine. It should be just fine. She's talking and everything's normal. You'll be just fine. Because let's talk about, people talk about in the media, they talk about some of the negative things like, oh, you're going to die. But what's the recovery rate? Let's talk about that. 99 point whatever. Let's talk about that part. I mean, this is not a death sentence to get this thing. That's why they want to make it seem like in the media, but it's not that way. Nine 7-2, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to? 972, hello.
Hello.
Yes, who am I speaking to?
Excuse me. My name is sorry, I was chewing. My name is Zach Whitwell. I'm calling because I was interested in what your opinion was on Biden recently, whether or not it was intentional, admitting to being given a list of particular people he can call on for particular questions at a conference.
Well, I think he was just letting the cat out the bag, telling us what we already knew, because we've already known. If you watch this channel, other channels, we've already known that Biden is not in control. He's just a puppet. They put him there. They tell him what to do, what to say, how to say it, when to say it, and that's pretty much it. And he tries his best to follow directions. So it was something that we already known, but for him to just outright say it like that was pretty strange. I think that was a very embarrassing moment to, kind of break that fourth wall and reveal what we already have known for a long time.
And I mean, do you think it was something that, do you think it necessarily means it's because of what we know that, he's just not all quite there? Or do you think this is something that even Trump or Obama had, but were smart enough to not directly outright say it?
Well, I think that
I know Trump, he definitely decided who he wanted to call on, but I'm wondering, do you think this is a normal thing among the presidents, or do you think this is something that
it's something for Biden?
The people know he's not there, but we
Yeah.
gotta make sure get him these right questions to make it seem everything's fine, but he's just spilling the beans by accident.
Yeah, it's something for Biden because they know that he's not there. They knew that during the campaign. They knew he wasn't really all the way there, didn't have all his marbles. So that's why they're doing it.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Well, thank you.
All right. Thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
All right. Shout out to the caller. But that will be a wrap for me for the callers tonight. Thank you for joining. If you couldn't get on tonight, I'm sorry. Blame the white man. It's not my fault. I didn't do it. But you guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. Shout out to everybody who has just watched, commented, shared, liked, subscribed, super chatted, whatever you've done. Thank you for being here. I couldn't do it without y'all. And shout out to the mods for doing what you do. Keep all the Trojan, keeping everything above board and everything cool. Super chats are on deck, and then I'll wrap it on up, put the bowl clean on top. Let me go back to where I was, and then we can just keep moving. Let's see. Where was I last time here? Okay. Code Hater Rate says LGBT promoters aren't the least concerned about HIV or AIDS. How long do you think it'll be before schools start calling them a myth? Well, I think it's already kind of a campaign to go out there to disassociate LGBT with HIV, because there was this rapper named DaBaby, and he said something about HIV AIDS, and then he made a comment about LGBT soon thereafter or a little bit before that. Like, it wasn't the same comment. He didn't say, the comment was not about LGBT and AIDS. It was two different comments made within close proximity to each other. Therefore, they said, are you talking about LGBT having AIDS? Now we got to cancel you. So they're already trying to fight against that, but that's the reality. You know, if HIV AIDS came about among the gay community first, and when I say gay, I mean men with men. That's where it came from. That's how it happened. And then it spread from women catching it from bisexual, gay, or whatever men, and also through IV drug use. That's how it spreads. That's just a fact. If you are not a homosexual man or an IV drug user, like, you know, on the street, IV drugs, your chances of catching HIV are very low because you're not involved in that kind of lifestyle that produces it. In my opinion, from what I've been able to see, the numbers back it up. Like I said before, the CDC says that 1 out of every 2, 50%, half of gay black men will catch HIV. Will. Not, you know, may get it, may catch it, are at risk. Will. 50%. That's ridiculously high. Nowhere else in any other group of people is it that high. And among LGBT Hispanic, it's 25%. 1 out of every 4. Nowhere else is it that high, because we know where it comes from, but they don't want to tell you that. And it's not me making it up. The CDC said it like 2 years ago. They said that. You can look it up for yourself right now. Look up CDC Black Gay Men AIDS, or HIV, pardon me, not AIDS. Thank you to Textman, who says, great channel. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. Appreciate you. Shout out to Angel, who says, I wish I had your discipline, ABL. I get into heated exchanges all the time about politics. Yeah, I don't. I don't, because not with family. Not with family. With normies, or if I go like on television, even when I'm on TV, I can't get into a heated exchange because, you know, it's a format. I can't just not let them talk. I can't be cussing and stuff like that. I don't cuss anyway, but I have to behave myself. You know, I got to behave appropriately. Thanks, Elizabeth Peterson, who says, just the cat emoji. Thank you to HMS Taco for the donation. Thank you to Fred Cares, who says, California is red. Get rid of the cheating voting machines in California. Larry Elder would win if you do that. Thank you to Jolyn Turk, who says, have you seen these videos? Biden falling asleep while meeting the Israeli ambassador and the Taliban taking the joyride in our Blackhawks. That's crazy. Thank you to Daslav Atman Kerry, who says, at least for now, the people coming out of Afghanistan are legitimate U.S. allies. They were vetted before they got to the airport. Thank you to Jeffrey Paff, if I pronounced that correctly, who says, I put money on ISIS-K being funded by the CIA like the original. Probably so. Thank you to Wolfgang Dio, who says, started fall semester at university. This one professor has gotten increasingly demeaning. I have recordings. Not sure if I will just report and drop. Hey, man, if you're having a hard time at your university, you got to ask yourself, is it even worth going there? Do you want to stay there or not? Thank you to Cheryl H. for your donation. Thank you to Zen Christopharian, who says, we love you, ABL. Well, thank you for that. Love y'all right back. And going back to Wolfgang right quick, you might have some nutty professors, no pun intended, the movie Eddie Murphy anyway. You might have some nutty professors, but you may be able to get beyond that. But if that's like common, you got a guy over here that's crazy, a guy over there that's crazy, and it becomes common, you might want to think about going somewhere else or doing something else. Thank you to FNA Ranger Xbox, who says, FNA Ranger was born in Norfolk. Dad was 22 and a half years in the Navy. Oh, shout out to you. Yeah, my uncle did the same kind of time in the Navy, 20 plus years, retired. Yep. So shout out to you. Thank you to W for the thumbs up. Thank you to Logan Granger, who says, why is the left all about letting, quote, refugees in, but not any Cubans? You already know what time it is. If you know it's a political thing. You know, Cubans are going to be more conservative, more than the so-called refugees. Shout out to Laura Catherine, who says, let's keep fighting the good fight, Patriots. Thank you to Samuel, who says, I'm wanting to sponsor your show with my family's hot sauce store. I hit you up on Facebook, but you left me on red. Let me know how they get endorsement. I don't know, man. Like, sometimes I kind of respond late to people, but I have a lot of sponsors already, so I don't want to put you in a situation where I'm not able to rock with you. So give me a little bit of time. If I have an opening, I'll hit you up. That's my word. Thank you to Devin, who says, ABL, thanks for saying each of us has a part to play. They never let us have any hope. They dashed every hope we had. You have been a bright spot. Thank you. Yeah, everyone has a role to play. Everyone has their thing they can do. For sure. Everyone has a voice, one way or another. Thank you to Mixed Girl POV, who says, hi, ABL. Thank you for all that you do. May God continue to richly bless you and all that you do. Blessings. Thank you for that, Mixed Girl POV. I appreciate you. But that will be a wrap. Shout out to everybody. You guys have been great tonight, as always. I'll see y'all again live on Wednesday, coming up, 8 p.m. Eastern time, as always. And I think that'll be it. And of course, always my pre-recorded videos every day, Monday through Saturday, pardon me. I do my pre-recorded right around 10 minutes or so. Oh, and of course, catch me on the Instagrams, instagram.com/Anthony B. Logan. I'm trying to get to 50K on Instagram, then 100K, and then the moon. So follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, follow my website, follow the merch store, follow all my sponsors, bcdesigns.com, Mr1920.com, patriotpost.us. Follow everything that I got going on in the description box below this video or the podcast audio only. And if you don't know, this will be available on your favorite audio streaming platform starting tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern time. And that'll be Apple iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, etc. And thank you to Butt versus Windshield for the good job, thumbs up emoji. But that'll be a wrap for me. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.